15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
The Lakers are punchline. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. What is up on this Thursday? And I don't know what else to call it. You know, could they rebound, Pearl? And could J.J. Redick become like the next Steve Kerr? Sure, it's possible. Could he be the next, you know, Nick Nurse? I don't know who you want to compare him to. You don't want to compare him to Steve Nash because that didn't go well when he made his coaching debut. But to me, the process here with the Lakers has got to be so infuriating for Laker fans. Good morning.
You have three openings, right? You have Detroit, Cleveland, and the Lakers. Like, which team doesn't fit in this threesome? Like, the Lakers are supposed to know how to do this. They're the Lakers. They just got passed over for the most titles ever, and they feel more like Detroit or Cleveland, who's had a much more up and down legacy. They should have this figured out, right? This is the Lakers, the gold standard. They're like the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. What's going on here? You're exactly right.
It's a lot. A lot's going on. If you think it's just about the J.J. Redick, Dan Hurley situation, we're kind of put that in the rearview mirror, right? Dan Hurley got what he wanted. He got his new contract from UConn. The details of that came out yesterday. He ended up getting $50 million from UConn, reportedly, according to a newspaper in Connecticut. So he's getting $50 million. He's got his situation. Now you still have the Lakers who need a head coach. Monty Williams, as you mentioned, Detroit's open now. Monty Williams got fired yesterday. That is somebody who the Lakers had targeted back in 2019 when Monty Williams eventually picked the Phoenix Suns over the Lakers. And so I don't know if it's way too late to get Monty Williams back in the mix here, or are they too far down the road on Redick? Who knows? This is the other part of the how the Lakers are a punchline and why, if I'm a fan of this team, I am so frustrated beyond belief. You have LeBron James's agent, Rich Paul, famous agent, probably the most famous right now, quite frankly, doing an interview with ESPN yesterday where he outright blatantly says, if this was about leverage with LeBron James, I could force the Lakers to draft Bronny 17th overall. I could force the Lakers. I'm telling you, that might not be a mainstream leading sports center type of thing. It's not a walk-off grand slam home run, but the reverberations of saying something like that have to be felt in the organization. Because first of all, why would the Lakers ever draft Bronny if LeBron's not attached to it? And that's something Rich Paul said yesterday, too. You could draft Bronny, LeBron could go somewhere else. What? And what planet? What are we doing? Bronny's not even a legit NBA prospect. We're all keeping up this charade because it's LeBron.
I've actually been thinking about this all night, and I got a plan. I got a strategy for Lakers. If you draft Bronny, you have to remember LeBron is very, very shortly going to be a retired NBA player. You have LeBron at every game as an ambassador. So you get LeBron in the stands with Bronny. So maybe, is there that you're a little intrigued? So remember, LeBron's out of the NBA in a year or two. You have Bronny, you have the James family, then you get Bryce, and like you have sort of this ambassador for your team in LeBron James, and he is a Laker for life.
I mean, the last team that needs star ambassadors is the Lakers. They've got half of Hollywood. They've got Magic Johnson for this. They've got every star under the sun. And I'll disagree with you. It's a good theory. I hope it really didn't keep you up all night because it's flawed.
There's no flaw. This is perfect. You get Kendrick Lamar is on your side all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You don't want him against you.
I know. We'll get to EJ's tweet going viral last night off the Kendrick Lamar big concert in L.A. Here's where your logic's flawed. LeBron will tell everyone under the sun he wants to own a team in Las Vegas. So not only would you draft Bronny and be doing him this favor, now he's going to start a team in Las Vegas to try to come kick your ass. The Lakers, they're stuck. They're stuck, and it's their own fault. And now you have an agent a week before the draft basically publicly almost taunting you in a way. My first question, who is running this team? Really, because we had Anthony Irwin on yesterday, who's a Lakers insider, and he told us, Pearl, something that a video that's got a lot of views right now because it was news to a lot of people, that the only person in the brain trust of the Lakers, the front office, the inner circle of the front office, the only person who even raised their hand to have any reservations about J.J. Redick taking the job with no coaching experience was Linda Rambis. Like, where are your basketball people on this? Like, what is going on? Just make Linda the coach. Honestly, she's got so much power in the organization, it seems like. Just put Linda in charge.
Well, I mean, listen, Linda, how long has Linda been running the show there? About 5 years, right? When did her name first come up? I remember we've done Linda Rambis before. Well, might as well be Linda Rambis. I mean, like you said, it seems like nobody is running this. And is that such a bad thing? Because I don't know. I can't pick any individual there who I actually want to run it. I'd almost rather have the committee. I don't want Rob Pelinka running this show. I don't mind Jeannie Buss. I think she's really cool, but I'm not sure I want her running the show. Magic, I don't want him running the show. I don't really want LeBron and Rich Paul running the show. So I'm not sure there's a perfect option here. Like, who would you choose?
There's a vacuum, I think, of power here, and I think Rich Paul and LeBron's people see that. And so I think they're definitely moving in here.
But they're trying to fight them off, right? The front office doesn't want Rich Paul and LeBron. That's why Rich Paul said that thing yesterday. Obviously, he's not getting what he wants from the Lakers, so that was a shot yesterday.
It definitely was. And it's funny, though, because the Lakers, I think, will end up drafting Bronny, and I think LeBron will end up opting out of this contract to sign a new contract with them. Like, LeBron's going to get everything he wants out of this. Let's stop pretending like he's not.
Well, maybe not, though, because that video you mentioned with Anthony Irwin yesterday on the show said that there are people in the front office, Linda Rambis, who does not want LeBron to have too much power. So maybe Rich Paul came out and said this because the Lakers are trying to fend off the Rich Paul LeBron team. So maybe that's why Rich Paul is getting all these other teams interested in Bronny out. Maybe he ends up somewhere else. Maybe they don't definitely take him now.
Yeah, we're talking about what's going on with the Lakers. It's not rock bottom. I mean, they made the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago, but that feels like a fluke. The other part of this that was hilarious, what Rich Paul had to say was, he said, if the Lakers and Phoenix aren't interested, I got a bunch of other teams that are. Bronny won't work out with any of those, but I have a bunch of other teams. And then he lists them. Minnesota, but I don't know what the ownership situation is. Dude, the guy's going to get drafted 55th overall. What are you talking about, the ownership situation? Was he going to dinner with A-Rod or Glenn Powell? I don't even know who that's laughable that they would be worried about the ownership situation with Bronny. The second he goes, Nico Harrison for the Dallas Mavericks, right? Just in the finals. Nico Harrison's like an uncle to Bronny. He would draft him at 58. Because he was a Nike executive before he was the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks. And everyone feels like they owe LeBron something, probably because he probably made them all rich.
I don't understand. Yeah, you're acting like these don't make sense. Both those statements make perfect sense to me.
Let's stop saying it's about the basketball. Like, we know that this is not about the basketball. Bronny, it's about a favor to get LeBron.
Who said it was about the basketball?
Well, then Rich Paul goes on to say, and LeBron's not playing for the minimum in Phoenix, so let's squash that right now. Okay, so then why is Phoenix going to draft him? Like, what is going on?
James Jones related to LeBron James somehow?
Yeah, right.
Well,
Godfather to Bronny, who knows? I
mean, listen, I'm going to be such a sucker here. Bronny James is LeBron James' son. There's certainly good genetics. And also, he has had moments in basketball where like, was good at the combine. He was good in the McDonald's All-American game. He had a heart problem. So I think that you have to judge that as part of this. I don't know what else he drafted at 30. EJ thinks that there's players in the NBA drafted 30. Look through the history of who goes at 30. It's nobody who even makes a team.
I know, but Perloff, they also don't get a red carpet to get a guaranteed contract. Like Rich Paul is saying he doesn't want two-way contracts, doesn't want him to play in the G League. I mean, we're making a lot of demands here for a kid who would be like just happy to make the league at this point.
I think you're using way too much normal logic. Like, this is Bronny James and LeBron James. Come on, get on board with the circus, Maggie. This, of course, it's not about basketball. It's Bronny James. You draft him, you immediately have a name on your team. You're probably selling tickets. You get LeBron in the stands. This is all good. And if I'm Dallas, I would definitely
stands. I need him on the block.
Well, first of all, who are you taking at 30? You're taking either overseas project or like a guy who might play 8 minutes off the bench as a wing guy. Like, you're not getting anybody important anyway. Might as well take Bronny James. I would take Bronny James. If I own Dallas, I guess Mark Cuban doesn't do anything anymore, right. That's a recent report, I would draft Bronny James in 2 seconds.
Okay, but Rich Paul also said that he feels like he could force the Lakers to take him at 17. Will you agree with me that 17 would be rich, even a bad draft?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I agree with you, too, the impact of that Rich Paul statement. That was a power play right there.
Yes, it's rotten right now, it feels like, in L.A. So let's bring J.J. Redick into the mix. That's going to clear everything up.
I told you.
Yeah, Pete, you did nail it.
The bigger problem is LeBron is getting old. Like, I was actually saying to EJ before the show, why don't they plan it like this, where LeBron and Anthony Davis and all the contracts get off the books in 2027 so they can start over? Because where you go another way, even if you do bring in JJ Redick or you bring in Dan Hurley, whoever, like, what is this team anyway? Because LeBron can't possibly be good enough to drag them to a title.
Well, I mean, let's believe it when we see it. You know, he wasn't almost like an all-NBA player. I think he was all-NBA third team last year. I mean, LeBron is still productive. So when he does actually decline, and he knows his body, he picks his spots, now more than ever. So I don't know.
I think there's an underlying, yes, there is chaos in the front office, but that's just a distraction from the fact that this is not a championship roster. And you're the Lakers. Like, it's championship or bust. You can't, it feels like late Kobe to me. They just want to stay relevant. Like, this is all about the Lakers front office staying relevant.
They look foolish. I mean, one thing is relevant. The other looks like you're being played by LeBron's agent, or it looks like nobody has a clue. I mean, Cap is in our chat, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network if you want to watch the show. Good hair days all around, everybody, especially Pete. The Lakers should hire Sam Cassell.
Thank you.
Yeah, they definitely should hire Sam Cassell. They interviewed Sam Cassell, and somehow JJ Redick, Sam Cassell's been on an NBA bench, since 2009. But somehow JJ Redick is the one who gets to the front of the line.
But how does Cap know that Sam Cassell is going to be a good coach?
Well, I mean,
just by body language on the Celtics bench. I understand. I kind of like Sam Cassell too, but I don't know if we really know enough. The one thing every insider keeps hitting is JJ Redick's staff is an issue. Like, it's too late to get any assistants. Like, JJ Redick's never coached an NBA or a college game, and all of a sudden, like, he's not going to have that veteran Jeff Van Gundy type or whoever. Jeff Van Gundy just went to the Clippers as their lead assistant. So I don't know. I think it's hard for us to assess these assistants who've never been head coaches, and I don't know why Cap seems to know better. Well,
I mean, I bet Sam Cassell would have no problem putting together a staff, considering he's been in the league, been in the league coaching since 2009. So I would think he would have, grabbed some people along the way. The other part is, the thing about the JJ Redick staff, and again, we're talking about the Lakers situation right now and the coaching situation. The drafting Bronny situation, there's a lot going on. But I still believe somehow Coach K is involved here behind the scenes.
Oh, why not?
Right.
Add him to the party.
Yes, Coach K, come on down. Coach K is a consultant for the Lakers. Weirdly, Dan Hurley says he talked to 1,500 people before he turned down the Laker job, and Coach K wasn't one of them, which is weird to me because his brother obviously played for Coach K. There's a good relationship between Coach K and the Hurley family. But
unless he thinks Coach K is the ops, right?
Maybe Coach K is the one pushing Redick.
Exactly.
But then Coach K, I think, would be able to. Is he able to put the stamp of approval on JJ to an assistant coach? You're an aspiring coach. You get a call from Coach K, say, "Hey, come." JJ knows what he's doing. Like, come here and be a part of this thing. That might sway me.
I mean, he threw his weight around at Duke, because Tommy Amaker was a guy that reportedly Duke wanted, and it was Coach K who said, no, we need to get Jon Scheyer, and that changed everything that Duke was planning to do. I don't know if Coach K has that influence on the Lakers, but maybe he has that influence in the coaching community, and maybe that helps JJ, but it is odd to me that you're right, Danny Hurley didn't want to talk to Coach K. The only thing I think of is, Coach K's guy is the guy that the Lakers have front and center right now.
Yeah.
Well, what about you guys must have loved the theory that Coach K wanted Danny Hurley out of college so all his records would be safe.
That was
immediately everyone's like, of course Coach K wanted Danny Hurley out of college basketball.
Well, then he should have found an extra $20 million under the mattress to get him out of there.
The problem is there's that, like, Coach K has influence, Linda Rambis has influence. There's not one person who has their agenda front and center here, and I think Coach K did not get his way.
Well, JJ is the coach.
If JJ, maybe. What are they waiting for here? Also, the draft is next Wednesday? That is
a week from today. Yeah.
I saw Woj said, he said he was on Scott Van Pelt, but he did say something interesting. He goes, Scott said, well, they got to get JJ in place by next Wednesday, right? And Woj is like, well, it's not the NFL. You could go into a draft without a coach. He's like, I don't think the Pistons will have a coach. And I was like, wow, the NBA is a wild place. Like, you can go into an NBA draft and not even know who your coach is, and you don't even need to know the system to pick a player?
That's probably more of a product of the draft this year.
Oh, you think on a normal draft it wouldn't be?
Yeah, if there was a couple big stars coming out, I think
But the Lakers are at 17. To not have a coach would be nuts.
Well, I'll double down on that because I think that is a little bananas. It's a good point, Pete, but a little crazy. I saw a report yesterday it was Dave McMenamin, who's been following Lakers for a long time. He had a report that Anthony Davis wants to play more power forward. Okay, fine. He doesn't want to play as much center. Guy had a great defensive year last year. I don't know why you want to change anything, but sure. He wants to play more power forward, doesn't want to play center. Then I got a report from Ian Begley from SNY. Lakers are looking at centers to try to try to make Anthony Davis happy here. You have no coach. Why are you? Who's telling Anthony Davis he gets to play more power forward? That should be the coach's decision. Are we on this planet? The Lakers, it's just Botox and lunches over there. What is going on?
That should be the GM's decision, right? That's a personnel thing. That's not a coach's.
Really? You don't think the coach gets to decide where Anthony Davis should be on the floor? I feel like that falls in the coaching purview.
I, by the way, totally agree with that because you watch Anthony Davis has to work way too hard against the Nuggets. They need a Gafford.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's besides the point. They need a lot. Here's the problem. We could talk about all these details. They're not a great roster right now. They're not a great team. So I don't know. All this distraction might be the best thing that ever happened to them. We're focused on this, and we're not noticing that they're kind of descending as a quality of a team. They have a coach who's going to... J.J. Redick could be a miracle worker. He has a lot of problems. He's got an old, weird roster.
I got to be honest, too. I was listening to some Joe Mazzulla, doing the victory lap sort of things, and that guy comes across like a little bit of an odd duck. But listening to him more in these podcasts, maybe he's putting it on, maybe he's loose now because they won, and this is probably as loose as he'll ever be. When he talks about the type of preparation that he was doing as an assistant just to possibly give himself a chance to be the head coach, I thought to myself, there's no chance that JJ's doing this, right? He's got 3 podcasts or whatever. He's a professional broadcaster at the moment. I'm like, Mazzulla was in the jungles of Costa Rica, breaking himself down to build himself back up. Acquiring, grand champion chess masters to put on the staff to try to have a new approach to problem solving. This real 360 thing. I'm like, what's red? Is it? I don't know. 855-212-4227. It's this is not what JJ's doing, right?
He's definitely not. No.
He's drinking red wine with LeBron.
Well, that's why the staff is important, right? Because in theory, you would hope that you could put a staff together where you have guys like Joe Mazzulla doing that kind of work.
He had an all-star team staff behind him. He's got Cassell. He's got Van Gundy. He's got the chess champion. He's got the jiu-jitsu guy. Pep Guardiola, the famous soccer coach, is part of his inner circle. This dude compiled a really impressive circle.
And as we've mentioned, and we've talked a bunch here, the Lakers roster and their lineups are not a great fit. So they have not only just a roster problem, they have a personnel problem as well in terms of where guys are playing. Is AD playing center? Is he playing power forward? Okay, if you move AD to power forward, is LeBron playing small forward now? Is he guarding smaller guys? Is LeBron playing more point? Or is he playing off the ball? These are all questions that have to be answered. And you have a guy who has not been doing this kind of work to study the Lakers in a way that he would know maybe, hey, this is what I would do or this is what I wouldn't do. It is a bad situation. And the question I have with the Lakers is at what point do you get off the clutch sports narcotic, right? Anthony Irwin said it yesterday. You went from going after guys like Anthony Davis to last year saying, well, we can get you Cam Reddish on a minimum deal, and this is the big thing we can do for you. I don't know what clutch sports is providing the Lakers anymore other than butts in the seats to watch LeBron James at 40 years old. At a certain point,
LeBron is going there anyway.
I know, but at a certain point, you got to cut the cord, right? Because you think, okay, maybe if you have the outsized influence go away, LeBron goes away, maybe that's the best thing for them. This is, again, a team that I think has to hit reset. The Celtics just won a championship with 2 guys that were drafted in the top 3 in the draft. The Lakers, if they keep having LeBron James getting bounced out of the first round and Anthony Davis playing 50 to 60 games a year, you're never going to be in that position
but EJ,
to really rebuild.
They had the 2nd overall pick 3 years in a row.
And they flopped.
On all 3. None of those guys, D'Angelo Russell's back, but Julius Randle, gone. Brandon Ingram, gone. Lonzo Ball, excuse me, not Brandon. Lonzo Ball, gone. And it's they can't do it that way. They probably don't. Maybe they don't have a lot of confidence they can do it that way.
And that goes back to the front office, right? Because you don't have real basketball people. At that time, it was Magic Johnson running the show and Rob Pelinka, who's an agent, running the show. Now it's who knows? I guess Rob Pelinka, or maybe it's Linda Rambis. I didn't know executive director of special projects means you get basketball decision making, but apparently that's what Linda Rambis has now.
That's the special project.
It's crazy, and to me, to be honest, what we know now is the GM of the team is Rich Paul. He's saying what he can do, what he can't do. There's no pushback from the Lakers. Like, Jeannie Buss, get it together.
Well,
get it together.
I think the Laker fans would love it if somebody would step forward and show a little mettle and a little leadership. 855-212-4227. Give this franchise some kind of direction. Okay, we have more wild Joe Mazzulla story, which you got to hear. Again, he's been doing some interviews, and turns out he's a really interesting cat. Also, we have the real culprit, Perloff, behind Rory McIlroy blowing the U.S. Open.
Oh, wow.
The real culprit.
Is it a cop?
You'll have to stay tuned to find out. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. You know what's kind of interesting, Maggie? The draft is next Wednesday at Barclays. This is a terrible NBA draft, as Pipilotti just pointed out last segment. But all of a sudden, I have to watch because of Bronny James. It's incredible. It's like Godfather 3. They keep bringing me back in. This actually might be one of the more interesting drafts because instead of the Twins and like guys I've never seen and Victor Wembanyama going one, there wasn't a lot of drama that I had to stay tuned. This draft is going to hook you because you have to see if he goes in the first round. So you have to watch the whole first round. The next, Bronny James. And the next day is second round. When would you ever watch the second round of an NBA draft? This is going to be must-watch TV. Bronny's been all over my TV set. So is this like, did the NBA strike a gold mine with this situation?
The NBA, ESPN, I mean, they're the ones who are going to get the benefits from this. The fact that this is the year they're going to having the draft on 2 separate days, and there actually is a compelling story in the second round, or the most compelling story is actually the second round, is pretty good luck.
You're always looking for sort of a behind-the-scenes power player. Maybe someone at Disney.
Purpose.
I mean, listen, I've watched enough ESPN NBA coverage. There's no way they have a big plan.
Do it.
I mean, come on. There's no way they planned all this. If they planned all this, they would have had more than a 27-second halftime show. So no. I'm not going to buy that one. This is just pure luck. I think maybe this whole thing is just haphazard. Maybe none of this happens for a reason, Maggie. Maybe all your conspiracy theories are wrong and everyone's just doing the best they can and making it up on the fly. I think the Lakers might be doing that.
We're all just on this spinning marble in the middle of middle of the stratosphere.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about the Boston Celtics and Missoula. Maybe it's just like, I don't know, our coach got caught doing something bad and here's this guy. It just happens. Things just happen.
Honestly, just more Peyton Pritchard half-court heaves.
Yeah, it's the chaos theory. Chaos theory versus some plan. There's no plan. Has anybody ever had a plan in life that worked out in any possible way?
Anyone?
You want to make God laugh, make a plan. That joke.
That's always
I had like 3 attempts at a proposal, so eventually it worked.
Right.
Yeah. Your
got
plan,
there.
and it worked out better than your original plan,
That's
right?
very true. Very true.
I don't know if you guys, if you're the kind of people, those stories who write down something in 9th grade and like, I'm going to manifest this and make it happen. That sounds good in theory. It never really works for me.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I feel like we only hear those stories with professional athletes.
The
Jason Tatum running down when he's 8, I'm going to make the NBA. It's like, well, you're 8 years old and you're already 6 feet tall. Maybe you do have a little bit of a leg up. Maybe this isn't so crazy.
Yeah. Your arms you have a 7'3" wingspan and all the athletic skill in the world. What about this 7'8" kid who is now all of a sudden he's a Florida commit?
Have you seen this guy?
He could write down in 9th grade, I'm going to make the NBA because he's already 6'10" in 9th grade. Now he's 7'8" and he's a senior.
Where is he from, by the way?
He's American, right?
I think he's American.
Yeah.
He plays for IMG Academy, right?
Right.
Which is basically like, is that even a real school?
It's like an all-star team, right?
Oliver Rue, I think is his name.
Ryu, that sounds
I think it's
foreign.
Ryu.
Ryu?
Yeah.
I mean, where's he?
He's from Quebec, so another Canadian.
Oh, like Zach Edey.
Yeah.
Butts kicked.
Are there a lot of tall Canadians that are coming down here?
Clearly.
I don't know what they're feeding
That's
up
half
there.
the NBA right now.
I know.
You've been paying attention to this. Yeah, the 7'8" kid. And he moves pretty well.
There's a
For 7'8".
There's a picture of him at 12 years old sitting next to Jamal Murray. He is 6'10". 12 years old.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
We got to pay attention to Canada taking over basketball.
I'm telling you.
They put out their Olympic roster yesterday, and it's
Did you
loaded.
see them?
It's
like,
loaded.
That front row. It's like Shea, Jamal Murray. Got Zach Edey in the back of the photo.
Was Wiggins even on? Was he there?
He's there.
He's there.
Oh, my God.
RJ Barrett's there.
Yeah, like the U.S. Olympic team makes no sense organically. Like the pieces don't fit the whole. Yeah. Now the Canadian team, that like you could put together a great NBA roster there.
Man, you're right. Going back to the do you manifest things? Remember when that thing, The Secret, got really popular? It was like the people have like manifest boards and like things they want. And it's a very sports thing, visualization, seeing what you want. It like all of that is rooted in sports.
Oh, I know. Well, like the self-help gurus that go to teams and lecture, like
totally. I mean, maybe,
Trevor Moawad and Michael Gervais and all those guys. It's probably true, but I feel like things just happen often as well.
Right. I'm wondering, do we like write something down and put it in a basket and open it up in a month? See
I was gonna say like a year, but a month.
We could work a little faster.
Yeah, I mean. But back to the coaching hire, like the Eagles never wanted Doug Peterson as their head coach, and he came in and won a Super Bowl. So maybe this Lakers thing actually ends up working. Maybe you're more right, and there's somebody pulling the strings behind the scenes that is turning this into a circus.
I don't know. The puppet master, whoever it is for the Lakers, better wake up and get on it.
Well, there's too many puppet masters. There's competing puppet masters.
That's never
Rich Paul versus Linda Rambis. They should just get in the octagon and figure this out.
We saw the death of Jerry West last week, and it feels like, seeing this Lakers situation right now. Remember back then, he was the guy.
Yeah.
There was no pecking order. There was no, ask Linda, ask whoever. Like, we knew the Bucks stopped with him. Even with Phil Jackson, the head coach, the Bucks still stopped with Jerry West. They're missing that guy, clearly.
Well, and also, I mean, maybe you can tell they had a falling out with Jerry West. And the statement they put out after he passed away, we didn't talk about this, was, I mean, totally milquetoast for a guy who did so much for your organization. I mean, you can't muster up a couple more sentences about what he meant, but because some beef is happening, because I don't even know what. I mean, come on.
Also, the passing of the owner, Jerry Buss, and he got older. So combined.
They've won a title since then,
Yeah, but it does seem like what EJ was pointing, the lack of control is evident. I think it's all sort of coming to fruition now. We're seeing this chaos, which is entertaining for us.
No doubt.
And let's not even forget Woj and Shams and the media's role in this thing.
I don't believe anything either of these guys say anymore. It's just all agendas. I mean, you guys better come out. I want proof now on every single thing. Chaos. I want it double sourced, triple sourced.
Chaos theory. People are just making the best decision in the moment, Mag.
Yeah, chaos theory. Worked out well in Jurassic Park.
Maggie Gray, executive editor of all NBA insider information.
Yeah, it's all got to go through me now.
Who are your sources?
Yeah.
Got the light on, the interrogation. Come on, Shams.
It is very Jurassic Park, you're right. Like, how life finds a way? A Lakers coach finds a way. Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to get there.
But a lot of people got eaten in that movie.
JJ Redick would have gone down in that movie, and Pete would have loved it.
Yes.
Dexter Henry is here with all the other headlines for this morning. Hey, Dex.
What's going on, guys? How you doing? Pete's still saying yes. We got college basketball news. The NCAA tournament could be expanding up to 76 teams as soon as 2025, the 2025-2026 season. And on Wednesday, NCAA officials presented Division I conference commissioners with at least two different models that could expand the NCAA tournament field to 72 or 76 teams. The presented changes would keep the core 64-team bracket intact, adding additional playing games, and at least one more first four site. Expansion to the women's tournament could follow suit. Are you guys for or against NCAA tournament expansion?
I'm totally apathetic. I don't care. 68, 76, whatever. Like, because they've already sort of watered down the regular season so badly, it almost feels like, why not let them in?
This is going to be in 10 years when the tournament just starts in October and everything's just the tournament until we get to March. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I know like the snubs and stuff that people on the bubble, first of all, that's dramatic. Secondly, you should have to do something to get into the tournament. And those teams that are on the bubble usually have just not done well enough.
And what's going to be frustrating is going to be what we keep seeing, right? It's going to be these mid-majors who are really good, who maybe just miss out, and they're going to get passed over still by these mediocre ACC, Big Ten, I guess Big East schools. We just know that adding more teams is not going to make the field more, fair.
But counter, though, NC State.
I know, but they won the tournament. Like, they won the ACC
They won their
tournament.
way in. That's different.
Awesome,
But they're sort of a mid-level ACC team was obviously just as good. Like, you could have, NC State could have been 72 and got in.
But I like the fact that NC State went on the run. They won the ACC tournament, then they went all the way to the Final Four. It felt like they really deserved to be there.
They earned their way in,
Right.
So that's a little different. I'm worried about, I love St. John's, but these St. John's people or the, Providence people, these people oh, what about us? I'm like, you lost 15 games.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get you in the tournament now. We're going to, some other mid-major who just barely misses the cut isn't going to make it. It's going to be terrible.
I think the other thing I saw, John Calipari was on DP show yesterday, Pearl, and he was talking about how they got beat by a 26-year-old who was shooting three.
Yeah.
Right? Remember that guy?
Yeah.
What was his name? I don't remember.
We always forget his game. This is like the third time we brought him up. And we
think Jack or something. It feels like a
Jack Goldie or Goldie, something like that.
Yeah.
We're circling the drain around it. But and I wonder if that's Cal had an idea that you should only be able to do 5 years to play 4 years.
Jack Goldie.
Legend. 5 years to play 4 years in college hoops. So you get hurt a year, you redshirt a year, there you go. But if you get hurt 3 years, then that's just bad break. You don't get to keep playing college basketball forever and ever and ever.
I think I agree with that. I also think they got to probably do something more stringent with the red shirt too. I think you can play 5 or 6 or 10 games and somehow still come back and say, well, I was a redshirt year because he didn't play that much. Like that, they got to get rid of that too. If you get on the court, you're live. That's a full year.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but football has that same thing too. What else is going on, Dex?
We're going to go to golf. We talked about this the other day, and Jon Rahm has Rory McIlroy's back. Rahm was speaking with Sports Illustrated. He believes that NBC's golf announcers severely underplayed the degree of difficulty for Rory McIlroy's devastating missed putt on the 18th hole at this year's U.S. Open. McIlroy bogeyed 3 of his final 4 holes, concluding a stunning major collapse at Pinehurst number 2. Bryson DeChambeau won the tournament, as we know. Now, Rahm, who didn't compete in this year's U.S. Open, said there was more slope on Rory's shot on 18 than the announcers may have realized. So he did cut the announcers some slack, acknowledged that the analysis will require an intimate knowledge of the course. And it should be noted, down the stretch, McIlroy did miss an even shorter putt on the 16th hole. That was from within 3 feet, his first miss from that range all year. Guys, does the degree of difficulty matter here, or do we just say Rory simply didn't get the job done?
This whole thing is insane. What are we talking about? Jon Rahm's blaming NBC for Rory missing a putt.
He's saying they were too hard on him.
Yeah, I understand. So he's saying he created this public narrative that Rory is a choker.
And they wouldn't like Brian Windhorst.
I mean, who cares? Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like either an excuse or just sort of irrelevant. I mean, I honestly
what is
it's getting way too much power to the broadcaster.
What is the football or basketball equivalent of this, right?
I said Brian Windhorst taking out Luka, and then it became this pile on Luka after Game 4. Game 3.
Thinking maybe the guy kicks a 40-yard field goal. We don't talk about the win.
Well, it's the
wind was rough out there.
I see what you're comparing, EJ. I see what you're comparing here.
Yeah,
not informing the viewer fully.
Right.
I mean, here's the thing though. Rory McIlroy has made way more difficult putts. Even if it was a downward slope, which they did acknowledge on the broadcast that he was putting downhill on 18.
They did say this on the broadcast.
Yeah, and DeChambeau was putting uphill. They did say that, but Rory's made degree of difficulty times 10.
Has Jon Rahm been on the internet? You really think that the people weren't going to run with Rory choking regardless of whatever the announcers said? I mean, come on.
Fair point. That's a fair point there.
The internet was crip walking on Drake's grave last night. I mean, come on. They are ruthless. They would have taken any shot at a Rory McIlroy, flopping at the end there. It had nothing to do with the NBC announcers.
I agree.
I mean, this is what is Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, going to blame Tony Romo for losing the Chiefs? This makes no sense.
Tony Romo didn't do a good enough job of explaining the shell defense the Chiefs were playing and how difficult it is to throw in the Baltimore win.
Yeah, he's just out here protecting.
I wonder if you actually want to go back a layer. Does Jon Rahm not like Bryson DeChambeau? I wonder about that. I was like, what? Why is he?
They're both live guys,
I can see that.
Yeah,
he's a live guy too, right? That's correct. So yeah.
Wait,
yeah, up until 2 weeks ago, nobody liked Bryson DeChambeau, and now all of a sudden they do.
Yeah, but I bet
maybe that's what he's jealous about. Maybe he's like, all the other little guys are taking all this crap, and here you got Bryson DeChambeau, the man of the people, chanting USA.
I'll start a YouTube channel.
Koepka and DeChambeau are both live guys, and you can never tell me that feud ever ended. They clearly still hate each other, because when they say nice things about each other, you can almost see them gritting their teeth. So,
what else we got, Dex?
All right, we're going over to baseball. Garrett Cole made his return to the pitching mound on Wednesday night. He was sidelined with injury the first 75 games of the season, and the reigning American League Cy Young Award winner He made his debut in 2024. Turned out a strong outing. Cole's fastball topped out at 97.5 miles per hour. He struck out 5 batters in 4 innings of work. Guys, with Cole back in the fold, if he's healthy, are the Yankees the favorite to come out of the AL this year?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Perloff does not want to say it. He does not want to acknowledge that.
Well, I mean, aren't they? They have the best record in baseball. Of course, they're the favorite, right?
Well, the Orioles are good, but yes.
Is that a wait? But how far up are the Yankees on the rest of the MLB right now?
On the rest of baseball, I know they're 2 games ahead of the Orioles now.
Yeah, it's
so the
tight.
Orioles are second.
They're 1.5 games.
1.5 games, yeah.
In front of Baltimore.
So it's not a given. You know,
I mean, Baltimore's the second best team, so they're a game and a half on Baltimore. Next team is Cleveland. Or sorry, that's the American League. 1 game up on Philly. Philly is the team that's closest.
So, I mean, the Yankees, they're going to win 103 games and blow it in the playoffs, right? This is a fait accompli. Does anybody have any question about that?
Well, it depends. If Luis Gil is actually, if this is real and this season, that's a 1-2 punch at the top of the rotation if Cole is healthy. And then if you have Clay Holmes who's closing games out, that's... I mean, Juan Soto changes things too. A couple clutch hits.
I guess Perloff.
Houston's down.
Do you buy in their pitching with Cole, and do you think their bats are going to come up cold in the playoffs? Is that what's your concern there?
I think I have a better chance of predicting the weather on October 17th than what's going to happen in the MLB playoffs. Honestly, I keep saying, this is it's Moneyball. Once you get in the playoffs, it's called a crapshoot, Dexter. That's what it is.
I hear you.
And that's what, I mean, you say that 1-2 punch for the Yankees. I mean, how many times have they said that since, what was it, 2009, the last time they won? Or, I mean, how many times could you say, the reasoning behind it? I mean, I think, I don't want to give out a source here. I'm going to. Wow. Rock Positano, our good friend, the doctor.
Yeah.
I said to him, I'm like, he knows the Yankees well. He knows Aaron Judge well. He knows all these guys. And I'm like, oh, man, it feels like this is the Yankees' year. They're going to break this New York title drought. He goes, no. Not happening. And he is brilliant about these things.
Why would he say no? They're awesome.
Because there's something about the Yankees that can be totally awesome and not translate to a World Series title. Because we've all seen it, right?
Wait, hold on. Was he saying this as a fan or was he saying this as a doctor?
He was saying it as both. As someone who knows I don't know. He's just saying, the Yankees will be the most talented team in the regular season and get in their own way in the postseason. He said that.
Wow.
I can't believe I was.
But friends with DiMaggio. I mean,
yeah, I just think that there is. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. It doesn't feel like if the Yankees come in with, say, 105 wins or something crazy, there's going to be all the skepticism we've seen this before. Same thing with the Dodgers.
Yeah, I think what's different about the Yankees is they have Juan Soto. And Soto, if he can stay healthy, he's shown he can do it in the postseason where Judge and Stanton, for sure, haven't never hit a... I mean, Judge maybe, but there's not a lot of postseason clutch moments for either of those guys. They've got to be big.
Wow, I feel like
Soto is huge.
I'm wondering though, if the blueprint's been out on running on them. That would, in baseball playoffs, teams get a little more aggressive on the base paths.
So this is what baseball wants,
right? And does that become an issue?
Dexter, thank you. We've got to take a quick break. Coming up, we do have some news from the NFL. Yesterday, all of a sudden now, major changes could be in the wind. Is this really happening? We'll get to this next. It's Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Show is sponsored by the all-new Hyundai 2024 Santa Fe, equipped for adventure with capable features like available H-Track all-wheel drive and standard third-row seating. You need that. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Got some NFL news to get to, but first, Ali is in Miami, wants to talk about the Dolphins, which have been fascinating topic over the last couple weeks. What's up, Ali?
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
We're great. What's on your mind?
Yo, doing great. I mean, I'm looking at everybody talking about the Yankees. I'm also talking about everybody talking about the Dolphins and new football season about to start. I feel the Dolphins are stacked on their defense. I have to, look at them as a new defense, right? They got a new defensive coach, and they've built their defense up to the point where that coach is able to literally play video games, right? Like, he has everything set up, all the positions. And I love to see that. The Dolphins defense, how do you feel about that?
Ali, thank you for the call. Yeah, Anthony Weaver comes in, takes over for Vic Fangio, which everyone last year, this is what I would caution, thought Vic Fangio was such a slam dunk hire for Miami that this was going to be a guy who was going to work wonders with the defense. And it looks like the team hated him and they couldn't get him out of there fast enough. But I'm more with Ali. I really think the Dolphins have a shot at a really good season, like AFC Championship game level shot.
The defense obviously. I think they lost. They lost their two best players. I mean, they lost Christian Wilkins and Van Ginkel's gone. And I saw something the other day. Pro Football Focus put out their top 100 players, and Van Ginkel was really high. So that alone, and then Jalen Phillips, could be their one or two player on defense. He's coming off a major injury. So I just worry that they're going backwards personnel wise, not forward. And who knows? Vic Fangio didn't work out there, but that's not a guarantee. So the defense to me takes a little step back. Tyreek Hill's getting old. I mean, he was hurt at the end last year. I just worry they're a little fragile. They paid Waddle a lot of money, and he's a guy who seems a little fragile too. Feels like they're always too as fragile, lost some weight. I have trouble really believing all the things that have gone wrong with them. Health, cold weather. I don't know that they took steps forward to alter any of that. They just feel like they're a fragile team to me.
Well, interesting. Let's take them one at a time. So they still have Jalen Ramsey on this defense. They still have, as you mentioned, Jalen Phillips on this defense. Remember the Bradley Chubb trade that they made? So they still have him. Jordan Poyer, listen, a little old. I was a little surprised, but I don't know how much he's really going to be in the starting lineup. They did make a move for David Long Jr. last year, so now I'm just reading the roster for you. But there are guys.
There are a lot of older
Bradley Chubb
guys.
got hurt at the end of the season last year too.
Who's that?
Bradley Chubb got hurt in Baltimore at the end of the season last year.
It's true.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, though, about being fragile and Jalen Waddle. It's like, yes, he is a little fragile, but he doesn't miss games. So even if he is dealing with nicks and bruises and stuff, he's still out there playing. So you got to give him some credit for that, playing through stuff. I just think I'm a little concerned about Tua losing the weight. I didn't understand why they would do that when it seemed like him gaining the weight and everything they did last year was a positive and he stayed healthy. Where I think you really have to put your faith, if you're a Dolphins fan, is the idea that Mike McDaniels is going to out-scheme you. And I think he's a guy who is right off of the Kyle Shanahan, all these really smart coaches, he's right there in the mix. So what's the zag that he has? What's the tweak? What's the reinvention? How is he going to show something a little bit different than what they did even last year, where they were great offense?
Yeah, I just feel like they're a limbo team, 9-10 wins. It feels like they're stuck there. I don't see the high ceiling. Maybe I'm being over skeptical. In fact, I think here's the fear that we were talking about the division. That the Jets are healthy and they take a step up and they're a much harder opponent. I don't think the Bills took a very big step back at all.
That's kind of the common thought is that the Bills took this big step back because they let Stephon Diggs and a couple other veterans go. I don't see it that way. I thought it was a necessary move, but I get why people think that.
Well, Vegas didn't see it that way either. They still have them, I think, at 10.5. And then the Patriots can't be worse than last year. I mean, they couldn't score 8 points last year. Right. So they presumably will be a little better. I mean, what were they, 3-14 last year, or 4-13? So I just don't know that Miami. Do you really trust a Miami team that we just described against the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Ravens in the playoffs? Just feels like those teams are more physical because Miami always starts out like house on fire in offense and then it slows down. I'm not quite sold.
Yeah, I can understand it. Is there something you can try to do, though, to get to a little more acclimated to cold weather? I mean, it's not enough that he's from Hawaii, played in Alabama, and now plays in Miami. You can't just hope that you get the Chargers, the Texans, or the Indianapolis Colts in the playoffs, right? Is there something they can do to make this, guys go from the South to playing in cold weather all the time, or Hawaii to play in cold weather? How do you get him more acclimated to that?
Well, I think it may not be something they can do to him, but I think it may be how they play, which is they can be your downhill running team when they want to, right? I mean, Mostert had all those touchdowns before Achane got hurt. He was running wild. I think they have to be able to transition how they play in September and tweak that when they get to December and January. Now, Mostert got hurt, so that maybe that just they couldn't play that way, and then Achane got hurt too. But that they got to say, okay, whatever we were doing in October, we can't do that when we're in 0-degree weather in Kansas City. We got to be able to run people over. And they have the capability, but I don't know why that hasn't seemed to translate late in the season.
to be honest, they should have never been playing that game in Kansas City. It's like
True.
negative 30. People died. Like, it was a terrible. That was a terrible
People
move by
lost
the NFL.
fingers. It was
Oh,
weird.
it's awful.
All right, Mostert's 32.
Yeah.
I mean, this is holding on. He was at the broadcasters boot camp this year. I'm like, that guy should be in the booth. I can't believe he's still out there killing it at 32.
Miami Dolphins.
You're right, by the way. Chubb ACL and Jalen Phillips torn Achilles. Like, I don't know if either player is there week one. This is not quite. I'm not as sunny on Miami.
Coming up, one of the new rookies in the NFL really turning heads at all the offseason workouts. How quickly before their team is a contender? We'll tell you who we're talking about next. Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Perloff, when 6 quarterbacks were taken in the first round of the NFL draft, we knew we were having a moment. Welcome to the show, by the way, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We knew this was going to be a moment where we're just going to keep tabs on these guys, and this class is always going to be compared to one another, much like we do with the 2018 class: Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, etc.
Yeah, I mean, you always have the question, was it supply or demand? Were there really 6 first-round quarterbacks, or were there 6 teams that needed them? I think I lean supply. I think this class is loaded.
Right. You're very bullish on this class. I'm less so.
Yeah.
I think that this was more of a demand thing, and we do that thing in the draft where quarterbacks get pushed up, and 6 got taken in the first half of the first round because a team will say, well, if I like them enough to take them at 27, I might as well take them at 12 or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, even a mediocre quarterback is more valuable than the best, middle linebacker in the NFL. So it's a positional thing. You're taking more of a risk at these quarterbacks, but it's worth it. Like, eventually you're going to hit.
So the other interesting thing we've seen about these 6 quarterbacks is not every single coach was like talking them up right away. Like coaches have taken a bit of a different approach. Sean Payton saying, "Oh, Bo Nix." Well, we're basically seeing what we saw in the draft process. At one point, Gerard Mayo from the Patriots said Drake May, has got a lot of learning to do. These aren't inflammatory things, but not everybody came out right away and said, "I've got the next guy." And then here comes Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn is the new head coach of the Washington Commanders, and he was on our pal Jim Rome's show yesterday. He said that Jayden Daniels' approach has been beyond impressive.
He has the humility and kind of the hunger of the young player. I got a lot to prove. I still got a lot to learn, but he also kind of has the swagger and calmness of a veteran player. So I think those 50-plus starts from ASU and LSU, that seems to come about. You see him on the field in the huddle. That's where he's at his best.
Right. So talking up Jayden Daniels' extensive college career, like a lot of these guys, Bo Nix was in college for a long time as well. More from Dan Quinn on Jim Rome's show. He says everyone having to learn the new system has been an advantage for the young quarterback.
And one advantage of starting something new, all the other players haven't been in a system 3, 4, 5 years where they just knew it inside out. So there was this collective learning going on together, but he was right there at the front of it.
Right. So, and this is like, he gets to sort of, he doesn't have to come in and you have a veteran who's there, what is it, Jacoby? No, not Jacoby.
Marcus Mariota.
Marcus Mariota, thank you. Who's, already knows the system inside and out. And so the rookie's always going to look kind of bad. Everyone does it together. The NFC East is famous because there has not been a repeat champion since your Philadelphia Eagles were doing it back in like the early 2000s.
Right.
How soon before the Commanders are at the top of this division?
I give it 2 years, 3 years, because I think the Cowboys are headed down. The Giants are stuck. So the question, I think the real competition is the Eagles. I think the Eagles are a pretty strong favorite this year. They have an older team, so that's going to give them a big advantage. But then eventually, I think of the teams that are on the come up, it's definitely the Commanders. In my mind, they did a really good job this offseason. I like their draft and all their free agent signings more than most people. Dan Quinn's like immediate stability. They're going to be the team to flip. You mentioned the NFCs. This year will be the Eagles. I'm almost sure of it. This is going to totally kill me if I'm wrong on this one.
Yeah, you want to put that out there?
This year will be the Eagles,
okay.
But the Cowboys, At a certain point, all these bad decisions by the Cowboys are going to catch up for them, and they're going to have an off year. I think Commanders have a great chance. And I love Jayden Daniels. I mean, the fact that I'm not surprised, by the way, he's saying these things about Jayden Daniels because he is 23. So you would have a higher expectation of a quarterback coming in with a lot of experience. And he was so far and away the best college football player last year. The only fear with him is how skinny he is and he'll get hurt. But they don't seem to be worried about that. So I'm all in on Jayden Daniels. I think he's going to be really good, just not this year.
Right. It's, you look at everything, a lot of things are different from last year, but it was a team that won 4 games. And so what's a realistic, I know there's always like a worst to first team. Could it be the Commanders? It's probably the best shot, to be honest. If you're talking about, keeping this streak alive of a team going from worst to first, I think Dan Quinn having an institutional knowledge of the Cowboys probably helps. He has an institutional knowledge of the Eagles, which you always tell me, Dallas always scares the crap out of you.
Well, they're good on offense. Their defense against the Eagles is a little
dicey.
more erratic. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Dan Quinn, we'll see him staying in the division. You have to think may help a little bit, possibly.
I mean, they're stronger worst to first candidates. They're definitely are. I mean, because the Bengals ended up being worse.
Yeah, because it's
they
Joe
feel
Burrow.
like a cheat code because because they lost their quarterback.
I'm taking him out of it. I'm saying I think the Commanders have the best shot at worst to first.
Your Chargers with Jim Harbaugh were last. I'm looking at the Titans.
I don't think they're going to go to first though.
Yeah, because of the Chiefs. Well, the Titans are a buzz team right now. Everyone's into Will Levis. The Bears with the Cowboys, they were 7-10 in worst play. I'll take a bet. You want to do a bet on this? It's not the Commanders.
No, I do not.
Well, I just think they, because you mentioned 4 wins, they have a longer way to go than a lot of these other.
Yeah, but how many
teams.
wins? How many wins do we really think you need to win the NFC East? If we think that the Cowboys might take a step back, and you're really confident about the Eagles, and maybe you have a right to be, but the Eagles might. I could see this going one of two ways for the Eagles. I could see the Eagles being a juggernaut. Getting back on the winning ways, and they're back like even in the Super Bowl. I mean, I really could see the ceiling being that high for the Eagles. I could also see them struggling with no Jason Kelce. I could see more weirdness between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, and I could see Nick Sirianni just being a total zero. So there's also like a bust potential here with the Eagles as well.
I mean, yeah, it's funny. Jalen Hurts, if Lane Johnson's on the field, they just have a lot of stars. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, they got Saquon Barkley. Their defensive line is like rotating in sack guy after sack guy after sack guy. Their big problem was the secondary. They drafted a quarterback.
Yeah, but that's 2 rookie corners.
I know, but I just feel like I'm going to look at age with this one. There's just a lot of veteran players there. So that would be my only counter for that. And the Cowboys also have a lot of veteran players too. I think either somebody gets old. All of the things you said about the Eagles could definitely happen. But if you Jordan Mailata one tackle, Lane Johnson the other, and Jalen Hurts behind center, it doesn't feel like a huge bust potential to me.
Okay, well, Lane Johnson, how many games is he going to play?
That's an issue.
Right. So, I have a counter for everything. Listen, is it going out on a limb? Is it a bold prediction? Yeah, maybe, I just don't think that the Washington Commanders roster was as bad as that 4 wins last year.
Really?
Like on offense especially. And now they've got, Cliff Kingsbury, probably better off as an offensive coordinator than a head coach.
Yeah. Okay, well, you don't have a quarterback. It's hard to evaluate the rest of the roster. I do like Jayden Daniels. Yeah, I love your take here. I would love to do a bet that somebody else has a better chance, specifically Joe Burrow in Cincinnati.
I'm not.
You can't take them out. You pointed to the statistical fact that there's almost always a last to first team. That satisfies that trend.
It would, but maybe there's 2 this year. It's got an AFC 1 and an NFC 1.
And also, I would think Chicago and Tennessee would have something to say about that, too. Tennessee seems to be quietly collecting like this weird all-star team, and they could be the team because the AFC South is the division that always has that. And then
the NFC North, you really think that the Bears could win that division?
I think the Bears are of the last place teams. They were 7-10 last year, and adding Caleb Williams, they should have more wins than the Commanders on paper. I mean, they do not have as far away to go as normal last place teams. Now the Panthers aren't doing it. I'll give you that. And the Chargers have Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, again, they're over under. We did it yesterday. Yeah. It was around 9. I'm going to buy into the odds a little bit. I just think the Commanders need a little time to get all this together. I love your take here. I'd love to see Jayden Daniels be the breakout star, but I'm still sticking with Eagles. And don't forget the Cowboys. We make fun of them all off season long. They didn't add anybody. They're all in was signing a long snapper. But they're still, I mean, come on. They were 12-5 for 3 years.
Yeah, and if you have Dak Prescott like really in a contract year, not that it's gonna matter.
I totally agree.
But he could be really super extra motivated. I don't know. He always plays well.
Notice we didn't mention the Giants have Brian Dable and Daniel Jones. They won 9 games 2 years ago. It's actually not the worst division. See, that's why I always look for these worst to first. I always look at the 2 Souths.
Yeah, but again, I don't think it's going to be the Panthers. And
no.
I don't know about the Titans. I get it. They've added, but they have a first-time head coach.
Yeah, who people seem to be optimistic about.
Sure.
Callahan, he knows offensive line play.
And listen, at some point, Will Levis might be a good quarterback. I don't know if he's there right now.
There is some precedent for Washington having a young, dynamic rookie quarterback who can run and throw, take them from worst in the division to first. We saw this with Robert Griffin in 2011, where he's running all over the place. Teams don't seem to be understanding kind of just how dynamic he is, and he kind of took the league by storm. The only difference was you're coming off of a year where you had the Giants winning the division at 9 games, the Eagles at 8-8, Cowboys 8-8. Like
everyone was down.
It feels like the Cowboys and Eagles in this iteration of the East are a little better. But you also see those teams kind of fall apart last year. So you kind of wonder if there's some shrapnel from how the seasons ended for both Dallas and Philly going into the season.
Let's do a bet.
They're not exactly coming off of high notes, either team.
Definitely not.
Let's do a bet. Let's get in there.
I got to pay off my
I'll give you really
focus right now.
I'll give you really good odds on the Commanders not winning the NFC East. I feel good about this.
Well, okay, but here's the thing. I got a big thing in front of me, and so do you, by the way, because a week from today is when I'm going to be eating the tuna fish Jell-O green olive combination along with the Rocky Mountain oysters. We are paying off this bet. It is happening a week from today. So if you want to watch me vomit on camera, you can do that. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network is where you can watch it. I need your head in the game too here, Pearl. I know.
What do I have to do? I'm scot-free here. I'm not losing any bets.
You are making the concoction.
Yeah. So
am I buying the ingredients? I feel like this is
no. I got it.
Yeah.
Because I want to get the grossest tuna. I want to get the brightest green jello you've ever seen in your life. And the question is, I was wondering, do they make pickled Rocky Mountain oysters? Because I could throw those in there.
I think they do.
Yeah, I think they do too. So I have to order those on Amazon. I've been thinking about.
Oh my God, Amazon.
Go to the dollar store.
What'd you say? Go to the dollar store for the Rocky Mountain oysters.
For all that stuff.
Do they have Rocky Mountain oysters at the dollar store?
Probably.
I feel like you're gonna have to meet some butcher in a back alley somewhere to get this.
Yeah, I know some guys in Queens if you need help.
Man,
I don't know
all
anybody.
Cash.
Yeah, they don't do contactless payment. You don't got Apple Pay where you need to find these Rocky Mountain oysters.
Not in this city.
No.
In other places. I know Kaplan went to Colorado for college, said it's normal out there. I mean, it's on every menu. I've eaten them already out there in Denver, but no, here you don't see it much.
Is there any chance that it somehow enhances the product? That eating this lutefisk concoction with the Rocky Mountain oysters somehow is actually better than the lutefisk without it, right? Because
no,
I assume Rocky Mountain, I never had it, but I assume there's a little bite to them. I assume there's a little chew to them.
Yeah,
Maggie, I know you say you're not good with mushy stuff. Like maybe the crunch of the Rocky Mountain oyster is fried. In theory, like maybe that helps with this situation.
EJ, people are eating breakfast out there. Stop. Everything you said, crunch, and just stop.
Well,
you're making people sick.
You're half right. You can deep fry them, which is how I had them. I wouldn't say they're crunchy though. Have you ever had deep fried alligator?
Yes.
Similar.
Oh, okay.
Like that.
Okay.
So you're not exactly crunching. It's not like a chip.
But you do have but there's a chew to them. You have a bite, right? So like instead of like just mush, the mush part I think is the thing that's bothering me the most.
It is.
Yeah. So if you add Rocky Mountain oysters, I think in theory that could help with some of the mush because you'll at least get some chew in there with these Rocky Mountain oysters. I wish it wasn't Rocky Mountain oyster for your sake, but at least it's something to get some relief.
The FCC is going to jump in here. You're making people throw up, EJ. These words you're using are this is nasty.
Well, I got something else for you. Biggie's in the chat said my ex-wife deep fried my oysters. All right, so that's going to happen on Thursday. I don't know exactly what time. We'll bring you the details of that. Listen, if you listen on our incredible affiliates, our Infinity Sports Network affiliates, and all over the country, you're gonna get the full experience. Don't
I take
worry.
a 15 when that happens?
We will theater the mind this thing. You'll get the full thing. This also could be a day when you might want to log on. If you've never done this before, if you've never checked us out on YouTube or Twitch or whatever's your bag, that might be a day.
The only thing I can find actually is Rocky Mountain Oyster. It's in a bag. It looks really good. That I noticed. It's from the Natural Dog Company.
I'm not eating dog food.
I'm
it's
assuming
kind of an expensive thing to feed.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful package. I'm assuming this is for dogs because if you're called the Natural Dog Company, you don't make human food. Yeah, this is gonna be tough, Meg. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Have you guys ever seen those dog chew toys that are actually bull testicles?
No, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, they're weird and smelly. It's awful. But at least that's a dog, I'm a human.
What if I got you? I see a lot of smoked oysters. I could put that into the gel. That sounds nasty.
That is, I love a smoked oysters. Can I get some
suspended in lime jello?
No, no. You got Clams Casino in there. What else can you put in this thing?
Oh. Yeah, seriously. If you're trying to eat out there, we apologize. Say you have a nice breakfast sandwich in front of you. Yeah, you have a nice bagel with cream cheese. Stick to that.
Save it for lunch.
Yeah.
Those on the West Coast, some of them might be getting back from a late night last night.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
maybe they're okay.
Yeah. Foods that you have to be
4 o'clock out there.
high to enjoy.
There you go.
I don't even think there's any drug in the world that's going to make this thing taste good. And believe me, I'm looking. 855-212-4227 coming up. What's going on with Caitlin Clark? We got the latest next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
What's up with Caitlin Clark?
Welcome back to Maggie Perloff. What's up with Caitlin Clark? All right, Maggie, question for you. What's up with Caitlin Clark?
I'm happy to tell you that Caitlin Clark and the Fever won their third straight game last night. Clark, 37 minutes. She was 6 for 12, only 2 for 6 from 3. She had 12 rebounds. She also had 6 assists, but did have 6 turnovers. The turnovers continue to be an issue, something that's, followed her back even from Iowa. But here's what's interesting. They're about to start a 5-game road trip. They're going to play the Chicago Sky again on Sunday, the 23rd. So we get another fun Caitlin Angel matchup, Pearl. But how about this? Looking at the WNBA standings, if the postseason started today, Fever would be the 8th seed.
Nice.
Yeah, so... Excuse me, there might be some Caitlin Clark postseason basketball here. We've been begging for, hey, can we get some stakes? What is a little bit more, beyond just like the societal stuff that we're talking about with Caitlin. How about some basketball stakes? We might get them.
6 and 10. Wow, get you to the playoffs.
Well, everyone makes the playoffs. No, not everyone, but
8 of 12.
8 of 12. So there you go.
Yeah, that's all good. Well, what's the hot take? What's the What are you doing here? That sounded like basketball stats. I need some weaponization talk. Give me, what does it mean? What does it mean for society?
Well,
I did see there was
slowly descending into the ocean is what it means. I have no idea.
I did see there was a hard foul on her that the officials didn't call, and some people were trying to let's get it going. Let's get the Caitlin take machine going up. Didn't happen. It is nice to see her hit some long threes. I saw a stat that she's shooting from farther out than Steph Curry at this point. Probably because that's the easiest way to get open right now for her. But it is fun to see her get better. I thought I was thinking back on this. They beat one of the worst teams, right?
Yeah, they beat the Mystics, but you play your schedule.
So the WNBA, if they could do this again, might not have stacked the early part of her schedule. There was criticism that they wanted some made-for-TV matchups. They probably didn't do her any favors with that because what was it? First game of Liberty, second game of Liberty, and Connecticut.
Connecticut's on first. Liberty is back-to-back Liberty games.
Yeah, the Sun are 13-1 and the Liberty are 12-3. They probably shouldn't have done it that way. I don't know if that was on purpose to do it that way, but this is definitely schedule contingent.
Yeah, I mean they're doing. I think what you're right, and they didn't do her any favors, or the Fever. They're doing a good job, though, of making these Chicago Sky Fever games weekend games. Mentioned Father's Day. It's going to be again on a Sunday this weekend. The first game was on a Saturday. Sort of, try to make sure the crowd's really packed and all of that.
Well, obviously, they did it before the season do it that way. It should get a big rating. It's interesting to me that her game is kind of round around. I'm stuck on this fact that I totally blew it with this sort of quasi bet with EJ that EJ didn't want to do the terms. I said she scored 20 points a game.
You thought she would score average 20 points a game.
But I feel like in spirit she's doing that. No, I just feel like her game is starting to round into, maybe it's not 20 points per game, but she's sort of satisfying that basketball itch because her scoring is trending up. It seems to go up and down a little bit, but it does seem like a lot of relief that she can be a great WNBA scorer. I think we're seeing enough to say that confidently.
Oh, I think that's probably the most encouraging part about this, right? Is she's looking a lot more comfortable. Again, the turnovers are still an issue, no doubt. But
yeah, but I mean, so probably it was that way the tournament at Iowa. Yeah,
definitely.
So
we always blamed her teammates. It was like they can't handle these passes, and she's too advanced for them. It's like, well, now you're playing with other pros, and you're still turning the ball over.
Well, she's got probably a high usage rate too. So, and she, if you're going to make fancy passes, you're going to definitely have some turnovers. I like there. It's very clear, like it's not going to be a symbolic star in any way. Well, that is established, I think.
Yeah, well, I think what's been impressive about Caitlin is the last 2 games, 18 last night, 23 against the Chicago Sky. I know she had 30 a couple of weeks ago. But, like, we're not talking about 35, 40-point games, but we're still seeing excellent basketball. Like, I almost wonder if maybe her game in the WNBA, maybe it's not her averaging 28 points a game. Like, maybe she's more of a well-rounded player, and it still seems like that's still getting the job done, right? Like, they're winning. People are still watching.
Right.
Like, maybe she's also learned that, hey, like, I don't need to shoot 30 times a game for my team to win. And in fact, maybe on this level, I'm better off being more of an assist person and then picking my spots and being more efficient because they're playing great basketball. It's not with her taking 25 shots a game.
3 of their next 5 games also on ESPN. It looks like big ESPN, like major, as far as I can see on the website. So you're going to probably get some big eyeballs.
Yeah, I mean, she did average. Did she lead the country in assists? Like, she's a huge assist person at Iowa, too. So that's not new. She's always been an assist person. If she could get both of those going and be like LeBron kind of stats, that would be crazy.
So that's what's up with Caitlin Clark today. You asked, we answered. Dexter Henry is here. What's up with everything else going on in the world?
Yeah, I actually was starting off with Caitlin Clark a little bit. Break up the Indiana Fever because they've won their 3rd straight game Wednesday night, 88-81, knocking off the Mystics. They're now 5-10 in the season. Double-double from Caitlin Clark, as you guys mentioned. 18, but a career high 12 rebounds in this one. Plus, she had 6 assists and 4 steals. So there's that well-rounded game that EJ was talking about. Indiana has now won 5 of their last 7 games. And it's their first 4-game winning streak at home since August of 2015. We go from the WNBA to the NBA. NBA royalty was out in Los Angeles on Wednesday night on what was a fantastic night if you're a hip-hop fan. Kendrick Lamar had his Pop Out Ken and Friends concert in Inglewood. LeBron James, James Harden, DeMar DeRozan, Russell Westbrook, they were all in attendance at the Kia Forum, and LA natives Westbrook and DeRozan, they actually appeared on stage together when Kendrick performed his smash hit and Drake This, Not Like Us, to close out the show. The concert was the first time Kendrick took the stage for a live show since his highly publicized rap beef with Drake. So, guys, considering DeRozan, I want to talk about him.
Okay.
Because he played for the Raptors for many years. He's had ties with Drake. Were you shocked to see him on the stage for K-Dot's performance of Not Like Us, considering his ties with Toronto and Drake there?
Yeah, sides are definitely being drawn, and there's no 2 ways about this, right? You show up on stage with Kendrick Lamar, you're basically now you're dead to Drake. I mean, you have to be.
Yeah.
But I have a couple things about this last night. I know, EJ, you were watching closely. One of your tweets went viral, so congrats to you. It was a cool concert, cool looking, all that red smoke, and really, really fun. Drake, he's dead already. Like, he's dead. There's nothing more you can do. You killed him with the diss tracks.
This was a funeral.
Yeah, but, like, we're rubbing it in now. Are we not? Like,
this was his first time doing anything since the song came out.
But Kendrick already won this epic rap beef. Nobody thinks Drake won it. It's like now you're basically like you're running up the score on like the Little Sisters of the Poor. This is like a college football game, and just wave the white.
Yeah, this is definitely Bill Belichick, throwing bombs down the field up 40.
Well, is it anyway? It makes Drake a sympathetic part of this. Like, maybe people start to feel bad for him and get back on Drake's side.
That was not the case last night. I don't know if that becomes the case today, or maybe in the days leading to say, okay, maybe enough's enough. Last night it seemed like people were relishing in Drake's demise. And the fascinating thing I had, not only DeMar DeRozan, who again has ties with Drake, is very beloved in Toronto. LeBron James was there. Yeah. LeBron James is sitting there now. He was not bold enough to get on the stage like the other NBA players, like Russell Westbrook and DeRozan, but he's there. And him and LeBron, Drake and LeBron are supposed to be really close friends. I mean, to me,
not anymore.
I mean, to me, if I'm Drake, LeBron is an op now. I mean, to go to a show where the main attraction is them calling me a groomer, essentially, and LeBron is there singing the words in the crowd, there's no coming back from that. Drake did a song for LeBron James. Literally, the first movie LeBron did, More Than a Game, Drake's song, EJ, his first big single is about LeBron James, is an ode to LeBron James. And
so you blame LeBron here?
He looks like, I'm happy he was there because I love mess. He looks like a terrible friend.
Was a turncoat.
Absolute turncoat.
Well, LeBron's a noted big Kendrick fan. We know this, EJ.
Well, you can't be both now.
Right, you can't be both now, though.
Fair enough.
Because look, like, there were all these great West Coast artists that were there, but there were some who have ties with Drake that did not show up. Snoop Dogg said, I'm not taking a side because I love both of these guys.
You could be Switzerland here, and they chose not to be.
The Game's a big artist, and he decided, I'm not going to show up. Like, there are some guys who decided, I'm not going to show up to this because I like both guys.
Yeah, that was also me. I didn't. I also didn't get invited. But if I had, I also would. I want to be political here.
But Drake, based on his sports fandom, he'll flip flop like crazy and jump from bandwagon to bandwagon. You're saying if LeBron invited him to a game, Drake would say no. See, I think Drake is a flip flopper as a sports fan, would be back on board, would forgive him. Am I totally crazy? I mean, maybe this beef is so deep that he'll never do that.
He may not have a choice, to Dexter's point.
Yeah, I don't know any athletes that Drake's got to root for somebody at some point.
Now John Calipari's not even at Kentucky anymore.
Yeah, I know.
His lifelines are going away.
Yeah,
he's got to take all the friends he can get.
Drake can always find a new team. We know this from history.
Yeah, but is the team going to want him? Because now it seems like all these athletes are on the Kendrick
I just
side.
know this. Maggie Perloff, if anybody invited me to a podcast where they were dissing you, I'm not showing up. Even if they're my friend. Even if I know them. I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing that.
That's loyalty.
A great Kendrick song.
Yeah, but
now you got to take them out. Next step, taking them out. How dare they?
Yeah, you got to do something there. All right, Maggie, I'm glad you let us know what side you're on, and now we know where EJ stands on things.
Wait, what side is Maggie's neutral?
Maggie said you said you're in the middle, right? You said you're neutral.
Neutral.
I got to be.
On Drake and Kendrick?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not picking up sides there. What are you, crazy? No way.
No.
You see what happened with Tupac and Biggie? People ended up dead.
I'll tell you right now.
Those two guys. I have no shot.
He's like, I'm not going there at all.
I know enough that I'm definitely Team Kendrick. Like, without a doubt.
I
mean,
wow.
There you go.
But you know why? Because every single human being I know is Team Kendrick. Is there anybody Team Drake? Is there a Team Drake anymore? They're like...
Odell Beckham is. He let that be known.
Uh-oh.
They got OBJ?
Well, I mean, he posted a video 3 weeks after Drake's diss came out of him dancing in his car to Drake's diss, and I'm like, this is the only support. I saw like 60 Bloods and Crips and all these artists on the stage for Kendrick Lamar last night, and the only person supporting Drake right now is Odell Beckham in his Hummer or whatever he's driving. His Cybertruck.
Not surprised.
That's a pretty good get, though, for the Drake Team Drake.
Odell Beckham. I mean, is this the thing that could like end the beef between Bloods and Crips?
That's what it looked like last night.
He was wearing all red, though. Isn't that picking?
But then there's noted Crips up there, Crip walking to all these songs. So I think this was a unity concert.
I find it ironic that hate is what unified the city there in Los Angeles.
Dex going next level on us here.
Hate for Drake?
Hate for Drake. Unified the city. That's what happened there.
I mean, honestly, if Drake somehow, if this ends some kind of like, decades-long gang war that's been happening in LA.
It's worth it.
It was worth it.
It's worth it. That's the case.
Then you also have to thank Drake.
That is
How many
true.
lives did he save?
This is true. Maybe Kendrick should just tour with this and, spread peace through hate, which is weird throughout the country.
Sorry, I have a question. Does Drake have more than one NBA team? I know Raptors, obviously. Is he is he a Mavs fan or something? Doesn't he have another team that
I honestly think the NBA is the only, I mean, he's a LeBron fan. I mean, he's his friend, so he always roots for LeBron. But I mean, the Raptors, he has like,
he's like part
owner.
Yeah.
He's like, he has a tie with them. So I don't think it's the only sport where I think he doesn't really flip-flop too much.
Oh, boy. Okay. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
In the chat, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. Delta, loyal Weedo. Cap, can you make an AI song from Drake dissing Maggie and Perloff? No. Do not.
Oh, man.
Cap said I would never. See? Loyalty.
See, Cap is not LeBron.
Wasn't
Cap
that Kendrick's song? Loyalty.
Yeah, exactly.
No loyalty here. All right, guys. Let's going to stick with the NBA. If Paul George doesn't agree to a contract extension with the Clippers before the start of free agency, he's going to be one of the biggest names on the market. And recently on his podcast, Playoff P said chasing championships is not his priority, but rather it's about playing basketball, the right style of basketball. George didn't elaborate on what playing the right style of basketball is and where that would be, but Perloff Sixers, they've been linked with having interest in PG-13. So prediction time here, guys. Will Paul George be playing the right style of basketball in Los Angeles or elsewhere next season, maybe somewhere like Philadelphia? What do you say?
I don't want him. I'm very clear about this. I mean, you're going to pay $50 million a year for a 35-year-old tweener. I'm not into Paul George. I think he will go to the Sixers because the Sixers can't get out of their own way, and this will blow up.
And you think they'll give him max money?
He's getting... Yeah, I definitely think. What is it? I keep seeing this $50 million number. I don't know what that means.
That's what the Sixers could.
That's what they can offer him. Mm-hmm. Amazing. And how old is he?
35.
Oh,
not 35.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think
it's not like he has an injury history.
I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna happen, and I think it's gonna be disappointing.
I think it's happening too. But what are we doing here? Like, you can't. Especially, Paul George, I would just say this, like, if you want to get off on the right foot in Philadelphia, and I feel like sitting next to you now and being your friend for a long time, our former boss, Spike Eskin, listening to his podcast about the Sixers, I feel like I kind of get a little bit more about the Sixers mentality. You cannot walk in when you're getting paid $50 million and say, I'm just here for the vibes. Like, I'm just here for the good basketball. Kevin Durant tried that and sounded stupid then. You have a team that hasn't won a championship in basketball since 1983. You have the process where they were losing on purpose to try to get Joel Embiid or get a star. They got Embiid. He can't get out of the second round. You've had stars cycling in and out. You cannot walk in and say, I'm just here to have a good time. Like that is, you are going to be enemy number one with this fan base. Am I wrong about that?
You're totally wrong. Because who cares what he says? If Paul George comes in and says, I'm going to win a championship, is anyone taking that seriously? What difference does it make?
Well, I'd at least lie to me and say you're in it to win a title than say I'm just here to play basketball the right way, because that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win.
And it's Philadelphia. Do they play basketball the right way?
But by the way, good point. Well, I think Nick Nurse is a good coach, but Paul George, if he came in and said, I'm here to win a championship, that's just empty words. Nobody's going to care one way or the other about that. That's what it sounds like, platitudes.
Then I'd say nothing.
You might as well say that. I mean, he's amazing. His podcast is great. So I just feel like this is totally a harmless
JJ Redick too.
This is Philly getting soft, Pearl. I mean,
wait, what is the way they view the Sixers is totally different. I just don't think that people are going to rip him for that because, first of all, AJ brings up a good point. Like, ooh, we play basketball the right way. That's the nicest thing anyone said about this franchise since Dr. J left.
I don't know. I think if Bryce Harper signed that big deal and came in and was like, guys, I'm just here to play baseball the right way, I don't think he said that, and I don't think Philly would accept that. And you have to understand, if you're being brought in to be a quote-unquote finishing piece, you've got to say, I'm going to help you finish the deal.
No, because it's just saying. It's just empty words. I'm here to win a title.
I kind of, in one hand, I kind of see what Pearl's saying, but the only thing I think that could turn this is they could not stand Tobias Harris because they kept saying, look at that money he's making.
Right.
I don't care what he's saying. Look at the money he's making. Look what he's providing. And like, if Paul George is going to say, I need max money, but I'm going to treat my career here like a role player, I can't imagine that's going to go over well. Maybe in the short term, maybe they won't care, but I think when the games get a little more serious, I assume the first thing you're going to say is $50 million. This is what we're getting, a guy who's just out there to play good basketball. I just feel like that's coming if that's PG's approach.
I mean, they were the fan base was so turned off last year, they didn't even show up to playoff games. They're selling their tickets to Knicks fans. I mean, you can't walk in and be like, hey, guys, I'm just here for the fun passes and the 3-man weaves. Hey. Like, it's not going to work, you know? The fan base feels a little too snake bitten for that, but that's me.
No.
That's what I'm picking up.
Yeah. The fan base has a way different set of priorities, I think. I mean, whether Paul George says he's wearing a title, first of all, Joel Embiid, can you lose 20 pounds and stay healthy in the playoffs? Like, that's number 1, 2, and 3 issue. Then, how do you get rid of Tobias Harris?
Well, he's gone.
Yeah, and then 3. Let's not overspend on another old guy. I think people are going to be down on Paul George. I mean, does anybody here think that can work? Does anyone think the Sixers are winning a title if they sign Paul George? We have 5 people right here.
I do think it can work. I don't think they should give him max money though.
I think he's a good fit. I think he's a good fit.
I think he's a good fit.
But it goes back to your point. What are the expectations? So if you're saying we're going to win a championship next year,
What else are we doing here?
Yeah, but I mean, they're in the mix, though. I think that as long as you're in the mix, I think you can live with that. If you lose in the first round again, I think that you can't live with.
How is it a good fit to be paying a 37-year-old whatever that huge?
The money and the years are not a good fit. The basketball, I think, is a good fit because you need another shooter. You need another guy on the wing who's not a duck like Tobias was, unfortunately, during the playoffs and late in the season. So basketball-wise, it's great. You got Maxey, point. You got a wing guy who can shoot threes, and then you got Embiid. The problem is Paul George is 35, and he's injury-prone. If he can stay healthy, I think it's a good basketball fit. I just don't know if it's enough to put them over the top.
And you're adding another guy who can't stay healthy with a guy who can't stay healthy.
But it's irrelevant. Because do anyone think Embiid's going to be there in the end?
That's the problem,
He's not going to be. So you could have Paul George, you could have LeBron, you could have anybody. It's kind of silly.
I think they should do it.
You take that $50 million. Pete likes it.
I like it because another injury-prone player in Philadelphia. Rings true to my ears. I love it.
Pete going Black Ops on you.
Wait, I
want to infiltrate the team with someone who can't stay healthy.
What you got a plan for that $50 million? Spend it elsewhere. I like where you're getting. Go, finish the thought.
Nutritionist.
Oh yeah,
the best and the brightest.
No, yeah, you guys have had friends who will not listen to the experts. Like Joel is just not going to do it.
Oh look, I mean, we saw a guy out there dancing on stage that maybe could help. What about DeMar DeRozan? You prefer him?
No, he's 36.
He's also old, I know.
Or 37.
Yeah.
No.
He won't be as expensive, though. You don't have to worry about the $50 million price tag.
They land in a terrible place where they're going to have to overpay an older guy. It's not good. I'm totally bummed about this offseason.
Dexter, thank you. Speaking of people getting paid, maybe overpaid, got the update for you on what's going on with the 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk. We get to that next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Yeah, it's the 6 God, running through the airwaves, no facade. I tune in, Maggie Perloff on the dial, but it's just another show that's missing the style. Got your takes, but they're colder than a winter foul. When I come through, I'ma light it up on your row. Try to run the game, but you just in denial. I got the truth, keep 100, no trial. Perloff, you just a stat on a pile. Maggie, step up, but you're missing by a mile. It's game over when I step into the booth. My words cut deep, yeah, they're the living proof. M&B, you just seem to miss the youth. Try to hit the mark, but you just uncouth. Talking big, but your points ain't sticking. My lines flow like a plot beginning. You're just shadows in the game flickering. I'm the headline forever ticking. Call it harsh, but it's just precision. Dropping bars like a surgical incision. When I'm on the air, it's a clear division. Real from the fake, my sole mission. You aim high but fall so flat. Trying to swing, but where's the bat? In this game I'm the aristocrat, and you just fade, just another stat. So here's a toast to the lessons taught. Drake's in the house and I'm taking my shot. Game set, a match like it or not. Maggie and Perloff, give it all you got. It's all love, just spitting the art. From the north I shoot straight from the heart. but your points ain't sticking. My lines flow like a plot thickening. You just shadows in the game flickering. I'm the headline forever ticker ticking. Call it harsh, but it's just precision. Dropping bars like a surgical incision. When I'm on the air, it's a clear division. Real from the fake, my sole mission. You aim high but fall so flat. Tryna swing, but where's the bat? In this game, I'm the aristocrat, and you just fade, just another stat. So here's a toast to the lessons taught. Drake's in the house, and I'm taking my shot. Game set and match like it or not. Maggie and Perloff, give it all you got. So here's a toast to the lessons taught. Drake's in the house, and I'm taking my shot. Game set and match like it or not. Maggie and Perloff, give it all you got. It's all love, just spitting the art. From the north, I shoot straight from the heart.
"15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
After off-season surgery. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, learning some of these things at the Tight End U, Pearl.
Tight End U is the spot.
It is. Looks very fun for school. But
yeah, I don't know. It's not exactly graduate level education here, but
listen, they said tight end is the hardest position on the football field. Dak Prescott said that, right? He's got to know everything the quarterback's thinking. He's got to know every protection. He's got to know every route. He's got to know it all. Anyway, I think everyone in the offense does, but whatever. So you have Kittle down 30 pounds. That was just a little bit surprising. You know, you have a team that is coming off of 3 straight years, that they are making these deep playoff runs. And you wonder, like, the accumulation of all those extra games and how physical they are. And then on top of it, just sort of the heartbreak of how you lost the Super Bowl in overtime, losing to the Chiefs again. And sort of how do you pick up the pieces and come back even stronger? Add on top of that, the 49ers having this contract situation with Brandon Aiyuk. Now, he wants a new deal. Obviously, the 49ers are not willing to just hand one over. They're playing a little hardball. Mm-hmm. And I believe that Aiyuk is going to be traded. So a couple possible landing spots, Pearl, where Aiyuk could go, if you'll indulge me. Now, we talked about this yesterday, and this is what kind of inspired me to make this choice. You brought this up, and you might not be wrong. The LA Chargers may have one of the weakest receiving cores, at least on paper. Lad McConkey, good in college, but often hurt. Obviously, Quentin Johnston so far has not been amazing. They got rid of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. So, Josh Palmer, guys like that are still around. But how about a Brandon Aiyuk for the Chargers? Find a creative way to get him paid. And even though Jim Harbaugh is talking about going old school and running the ball 300 times, you still need some weapons for Justin Herbert.
Oh, man. $30 million a year for a receiver in that offense with Jim Harbaugh. You're right. It definitely could happen.
You're not paying any other receiver.
Yeah, but why are you bringing in Jim Harbaugh if you're going to have to pay for a $30 million receiver? I get it. Totally makes sense. It totally could happen. It just doesn't feel like I'm not excited about that because I just don't think they need him because they're going to have this great system and then there'll be a system team and they'll build a $30 million wide receiver. It makes sense. Maybe I don't love Aiyuk that much. I just don't feel like he's the difference maker over the top guy for a team like the Chargers, who are definitely not going to have a pass-heavy offense.
Yeah, I mean, listen, even though Michigan was barely passing, they still had who? Roman Wilson? I mean, They had one of the good wide receivers from this draft. So I wouldn't rule the Chargers out, maybe making something interesting.
And you do bring up a good point. Now, their issue, I don't know how much work they've done on this. They were salary cap strapped coming in. That's why they had to get rid of Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. So that also is it's interesting. If they did that, then they're saying we're not going to pay these receivers, but we'll pay Aiyuk. That must be because he's younger. That would be the only thinking.
I also, I'm kind of big on an NFC team trading to an AFC team makes things just a little bit more palatable. But if you wanted to go NFC to NFC, are we ignoring the elephant in the room, which is when we found out that Aiyuk said they don't want me back, the 49ers don't want me back. He was on the phone with Jayden Daniels, who was his college teammate at Arizona State once upon a time and is now the quarterback for the Commanders we were just talking about.
Yeah, again, well, first of all, they have a couple receivers. So do they want to pay $30 million for a receiver? So forget the compensation, right? We're not even talking about that. Like, I don't know who wants to pay Brandon Aiyuk right now.
Well, but you have a rookie quarterback. These are the times to pay other positions.
Makes logic. I just, I don't know. I feel like Ayuk's got to be the missing piece, right? If you're going to pay him $30 million, you got to be on the brink of a championship. And the two teams you said are not those teams to me, but maybe Aiyuk makes their quarterback better, makes everything up another level. I wonder about the money. I've wondered about all these contracts, like Jalen Waddle getting $28 million, Amon-Ra St. Brown getting $30 million. I just don't understand why these teams have to pay $30 million for a receiver when they have these great offensive coaches, they have these great quarterbacks. Like, isn't that where you get the production, right? Like the Chiefs. Like, they don't want to pay $30 million for a receiver. They just rotate guys in. So why is a smart team going to say, all right, I'll pay for Aiyuk?
Well, I mean, it's tough to just say, well, what about the Chiefs? The Chiefs have something that no one else in the league has, which
Patrick
is
Mahomes,
head and shoulders, the best quarterback in the league. So he makes up for a little bit more.
But doesn't Justin Herbert make up for some stuff too? I thought that was part of the Chargers thinking, getting rid of these other guys.
Listen, at one point the Patriots went out and got Randy Moss. So it's not like just because you have a great quarterback doesn't mean that you also couldn't add a great wide receiver. And let's be honest, I mean, the Giants pulled off an all-time upset. That Patriots team should have won the Super Bowl, and we would have looked back so much differently on they look at what happened when they got Randy Moss and how much different it was.
Well, I think an even better model is your team. The Bills got Stephon Diggs and took Josh Allen to the next level. So is Aiyuk that guy? That's the question.
So here's another one. I don't love this. Well, the Steelers, obviously, and this has been one of the main rumors, right? The Steelers, because they got rid of Deontay Johnson. They do have Roman Wilson, we were just talking about, in the draft, but Pickens is there, and you've got Russell Wilson / Justin Fields. And so that's been one of the big ones. Can I give you more of an under-the-radar one?
Yeah, heavy.
Now, this would be tough because it's within your own division. And I always think that's hard for a player in their prime. It's one thing when guys are a little over the hill, but for a player in their prime, the Cardinals. Cardinals do have money. They have Marvin Harrison now, who they just drafted 4th overall, but they did get rid of Hollywood Brown. So it's not like you don't have any room to improve that receiver core.
True. I saw a highlight of Marvin Harrison in practice the other day. I throw to that guy 410 times a game. He started out at 6 on the depth chart. It was so much better than every receiver in the room that he's now number 1 on the depth chart. You do bring a good point. Like, he could take some pressure off Marvin Harrison because I think he gets double teamed from day one. He comes in the NFL. I think he's Calvin Johnson 2.0. I think he's incredible. So my counter argument to be you have Marvin Harrison, you don't need Aiyuk.
Are you trading within the division?
That's my thing. I don't know if I could get over that. I don't even think it's
that. I think it's wow, we're going to have to pay, at a certain point in 4 years, we're going to have to pay Marvin Harrison the highest pay. He's going to be the best receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, but you got years for that. That's not now.
Well, yeah, I just think you say, we don't need Aiyuk, we got Harrison. I think that's definitely an argument. I think that could be a compelling case.
But you invested this money in Kyler Murray. Don't you want to give him every chance to still be, to succeed, be your franchise guy, and take this thing to the next level?
Wait, I'm surprised you didn't say the Jets. Isn't that always a team that people have linked to Aiyuk?
Do we think he's going to the Jets?
I don't think it's going to happen.
I think deep breath. Pete's shaking his head no.
No, I don't think so.
Who says no?
The Jets.
I think the Jets do too. I think
you got Garrett Wilson.
You got Garrett Wilson. They just signed Mike Williams. I don't know. I think they're going to try to ride with these guys. The team that I think he fits best with that won't trade for him is the Chargers.
The Chargers, they make a lot of sense to me.
It's just I just don't think that Harbaugh cares about paying a receiver like that.
Yeah, based on recent actions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but you're like Keenan Allen. You might as well have kept Keenan Allen if you're going to.
But he was way better and younger than those guys.
Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, I love Keenan Allen. Incredibly productive.
Yeah, I love him. But I'm just saying his age and stuff. You would think that you get a younger guy that can grow up with Herbert, that would be a good fit.
Okay, so let's quickly around the room. Where is Aiyuk week 1 of the 2024 season?
San Francisco.
Jaguars.
San Fran.
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. There we go.
I thought you said L.A.
Well, I don't know if it's Harbaugh's going to make it happen. I do think Pittsburgh might need a little something.
Also, we have to look at our Shanahan receivers good when they leave Shanahan. That would worry me.
855-212-4227. All right, coming up Thursdays around here, we do the multiverse of Maggie and Perloff, a what if, what could have been. This one centers around one of the most fascinating players in all of football.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Yeah, just the sixth guy running through the airwaves, no facade. I tune in, Maggie and Perloff on the dial, but it's just another show that's missing the style. Got your takes, but they're colder than a winter file. When I come through, I'ma light it up, watch 'em row. Try to run the game, but you're just in denial. I got the truth, keep it 100, no trial. Perloff, you're just a stat on a pile. Maggie step up, but you're missing by a mile. It's game over when I step into the booth. My words cut deep, yeah, they're the living proof. M&P, you just seen to miss the youth. Try to hit the mark, but you're just uncouth. Talking big, but your points ain't sticking. But lines flow like a plot thickening. You're just shadows in the game flickering. I'm the headline, forever ticking. Call it harsh, but it's just precision. Dropping bars like a surgical incision. When I'm on the air, it's a clear division. Real from the fake, my sole mission. You aim high but fall so flat. Trying to swing, but where's the bat? In this game, I'm the aristocrat. And you just fade, just another stat. So here's a toast to the lessons taught. Drinks in the house, and I'm taking my shot. Game set and match, like it or not. Maggie and Perloff, give it all you got. It's game over when I step into the booth. My words cut deep, yeah, they're the living proof. M&P, you just seem to miss the youth. Try to hit the mark, but you're just uncouth. From the north, I should say from the heart. Yeah, just the sixth guy running through the airwaves, no facade. I tune in, Maggie and Perloff on the dial, but it's just another show that's missing the style. Got your takes, but they're colder than a winter file. When I come through, I'ma light it up, watch 'em row. Try to run the game, but you're just in denial. I got the truth, keep it 100, no trial. Perloff, you're just a stat on a pile. Maggie step up, but you're missing by a mile. It's game over when I step into the booth. My words cut deep, yeah, they're the living proof. M&P, you just seem to miss the youth. Try to hit the mark, but you're just uncouth. Talking big, but your points ain't sticking. But lines flow like a plot thickening. You're just shadows in the game flickering. I'm the headline, forever ticking. Call it harsh, but it's just precision. Dropping bars like a surgical incision. When I'm on the air, it's a clear division. Real from the fake, my sole mission. You aim high but fall so flat. Trying to swing, but where's the bat? In this game, I'm the aristocrat. And you just fade, just another stat. So here's a toast to the lessons taught. Drinks in the house, and I'm taking my shot. set and match like it or not. Maggie Perloff, give it all you got. It's game over when I stepped into the booth. My words cut deep, yeah, they're the living proof. M&P, you just seem to miss the youth. Try to hit the mark, but you're just some couth.
30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
On Thursdays, we get weird. Every day. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We get weird, Pearl, because we go back and reimagine something in sports and how the world would be different. We call it the Multiverse of Maggie and Perloff.
Exploring sports' biggest what-ifs and could-have-beens. Let's dive into the multiverse of Maggie and Perloff.
All right, Pearl, I want to take you back to a time not that long ago. Let's go back to last spring. Aaron Rodgers, may have heard of him.
Oh, yeah.
Goes into the darkness retreat. He comes out refreshed, renewed. A new commitment to football and a new commitment to the Packers specifically. He's got cell reception at the Malibu house. He and Brian Gutekunst get on the phone. They hash everything out. They realize that life is better together than apart. And the multiverse of Maggie and Perloff today, a what if and what could have been. What if the Packers had recommitted to Aaron Rodgers and picked Rodgers over Jordan Love?
I think it would be an even more interesting fall than it already is going to be.
Okay, explain yourself.
Because Aaron Rodgers would be on a presidential ticket at this moment. Because if he had stayed in Green Bay, they might have won, they might not have won, but I think it would have pushed Rodgers out of the league. He did not like this young receiving core. He didn't seem thrilled with the team around him. I think that would have petered out, and he would have retired after last season. And I think that he would say, you know what, I'm going full-time into this politics thing. And meanwhile, Jordan Love, I was looking this up. Remember the Packers traded up from 30 to 26 to get Love because they thought somebody else was after him. I mean, obviously, why else would you trade up 4 spots? The team that, doing a little research, that was interested in was the Indianapolis Colts.
Interesting.
So Jordan Love, that darkness retreat offseason, goes to the Colts, and Anthony Richardson's now on the Colts, and Jordan Love leads the Colts to the playoffs last year because he's awesome. And I think that we're looking at the Colts as a potential Super Bowl team. Maybe they are anyway, but I think more of a potential than they are now. And then Aaron Rodgers is VP, and then the Packers start completely over at quarterback. They're probably the 11th pick, so they're looking at a McCarthy-Knicks combo.
Wow. Okay, this is the multiverse. We're reimagining. Aaron Rodgers comes out of the darkness retreat and recommits to the Packers. They both recommit to each other, and Jordan Love presumably gets shown the door. So this is funny for you. So in this multiverse, though, you're not imagining that Rodgers gets hurt. You're just saying he plays out this season. The receivers don't take the step forward that they appeared to take with Love last year.
Well, I mean, where did he get hurt?
He got hurt in New York.
Right, MetLife Stadium. I mean, just like walking out on the field, that's like a 75% chance that you're going to tear your something.
Well, people think they're going to be good this year. So
the logic is if he's
the
logic is he's in Green Bay, he doesn't get hurt. This is clearly a New York bad luck, karma, and that specifically that turf. I mean, he played 4 plays, right? Yeah. 3 of the 4 looked like he was going to get majorly injured on. So I don't think it's a stretch to say he wouldn't get hurt in Green Bay. Why would he get hurt in Green Bay?
It's an interesting what if. And my what if he still gets hurt, but okay.
But why would he get hurt in Green Bay?
Because the offensive line wasn't as good. Because I don't know.
Green Bay offensive line is fine.
Were they fine?
They're fine.
I don't know if they're fine, but or maybe they're just fine. Interesting. Okay, what if what could have been? What if Aaron Rodgers comes out of the darkness and recommits to the Packers during last offseason? Here's my other interesting part about your multiverse here. Jordan Love ends up on the Colts.
Yeah.
He ends up on the Colts, though. He...
Trade out of conference. I thought you'd like that part.
Yeah, I was going to say...
4th round pick.
I guess he's just... he leads them to the playoffs, you said, last year?
Oh, yeah, because they almost made the playoffs with Gardner Minshew.
Right.
So they're definitely a playoff team. Their receivers are young, and they're not great. I mean, Pittman's good. I think they have enough talent, and he's sort of already, he's way more developed than Anthony Richardson.
No doubt. I guess what's different is different head coach there, right? That would have, when they were looking at Jordan Love, it would have been Frank Reich who was there, right? Now it's Shane Steichen. Do you think that matters at all? They're still into Love just because it's the same GM.
Yeah, I'm actually not going to get caught up in that. You're exactly right. But
yeah,
this is a multiverse. I still want Shane Steichen. Yeah, I want to hear. All right, you're up.
Okay, so we're doing the multiverse of Maggie and Perloff. What if Aaron Rodgers had come out of the darkness retreat and he had patched things up with the Packers? So presumably Jordan Love is gone. Okay, I think that Rodgers still tears the Achilles. I'm going off of he was older. Maybe this was always bound to happen. I don't know.
4 plays in, like first week.
4 plays in, boom. Lost season for the Packers. Lost season for the Packers because Jordan Love's already gone, right? And I'll tell you where in a second. So they jettison Love, and it's the ultimate blows up in their face because Rodgers gets hurt 4 plays into the season.
Right.
So now they're left scrambling. They are back in the same spot. I gave them the same record as the Jets just to sort of make this thing kind of even Steven. And now the Packers would have Bo Nix because this would have been the last quarterback left on the board. So now you have Aaron Rodgers still maybe upset because they decide to draft a quarterback, which is something that always just gets in his craw, even if he's coming off of an Achilles, even if he's 40. He didn't want the Jets to bring in anybody, clearly, or they didn't want to bring in anybody last year to try to save their season. So obviously Rodgers is sensitive about all this stuff. So now you got Rodgers no longer with Love. Now you got Bo Nix behind him, and it's still a problem. As far as where would Jordan Love be if the Packers had chosen Aaron Rodgers over Jordan Love after the darkness retreat? I think they end up trading him to the Raiders. Devontae Adams is already with the Raiders. I think Devontae maybe has a little intel back at the Green Bay headquarters, back in Lambeau, knows that Jordan Love may be coming along. They give like 3rd-round pick, 2nd-round pick, whatever it is. Packers jump on it to try to recoup something, and Jordan Love is now with the Raiders and a surprise Raiders resurgence in only the way the Raiders can, which is like backing into it with like, in some way. And we forever talk about now Devontae Adams and Jordan Love, the what could have beens. And how this is like Green Bay 2.0 in Las Vegas. And that's my multiverse.
There's one, I think you have one major flaw with this. You expect the Raiders to do something smart. Now, where would you possibly get that from?
I know.
That might be a multiverse too far.
Yeah, it would have been Josh McDaniels, which would have been an odd fit. But again, I'm making it happen for the Raiders. I think Devontae Adams would have come in, barged in the door, said, do this.
Well, yeah, I mean, it did seem like McDaniels knew Garoppolo. That was part of it.
Yeah.
Bo Nix, I'm trying to think, like, what if you have Aaron Rodgers and Bo Nix there? It feels like they'd be buddies. I don't know what. Feels like Bo Nix could get in with some anti-government takes.
Does he? I
don't know.
Like an icebreaker? Like
I feel like
Bo Nix
is a team player. He'd be like, yeah, the government's in my phone. Screw them. That's a whole new Aaron Rodgers kick. I feel like that could work. So, but by the way, how did the Packers, I'm curious in this scenario, they lose Aaron Rodgers 4 plays in. Bo Nix was a 12th pick. They need about 7 wins. Who's their quarterback? Jordan Love's gone. Which way are they going?
I don't know. Who was their backup quarterback? It's somebody. It's,
Oh, yeah. Who was, because you think one of the reasons was.
We'll give Minshew.
One of the reasons that the Jets got 7 wins, they have this great defense. I don't know that the Packers get to 7 wins without Love.
Again, you might even getting in the weeds again.
You might get higher. You might even get higher. You might get somebody better than Bo Nix.
Possibly. But anyways, that's what I was just giving him the same record as the Jets, just sort of to make it matchup.
Yeah. Okay.
So there you go. This is the multiverse.
Sean Clifford, by the way, would have been. He was the guy on the team, so he would have played. I mean,
I'm giving him Minshew.
Could he be worse than Zach Wilson though?
No.
Probably better.
No, he can't. 855-212-4227. That's what we do around here on Thursdays. We reimagine a sports what if, what could have been. And what's funny about this is we're reimagining if Rodgers had stayed with the Packers. We both have it ending in sort of discord, like discontent. Yeah. You have him retiring after last year because he's fed up with the team. He's got nothing left to prove, and he's now on the campaign trail with RFK. And I have him being upset that the Packers would dare to draft a quarterback even though he'd be coming off an Achilles.
What was the number he said going into the darkness retreat or retirement? Was he 80?
90? I think it was 90%.
Yeah.
90% close to retiring. So, yeah, one more year with Christian Watson getting hurt, and there were some big drops in Green Bay. I mean, Jordan Love is awesome because those receivers are still developing. I don't know if he wants to throw to Dontavian Wicks one more year. I think it would have been easy for Rodgers to walk away. It feels like he really wants to prove something with the Jets, that I can make it outside of Green Bay. He's very fueled by that departure from Green Bay. I think it's given him 3 extra years.
Oh, no doubt. You're right on the money on that. By the way, still don't know where he is.
Oh, we didn't give the Jets a quarterback in this scenario, too. They need somebody at quarterback.
Yes.
Oh, right.
So where were they drafting?
I think they have Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is their quarterback.
They did court Derek Carr a little bit.
They said, you'll be the Hall of Famer if you come here.
Lie.
Douglas told
what
him.
a lie.
I mean, I think you would have been 7-10 with Derek Carr because he would have gotten hurt too, just like he did last year.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but he would at least. Zach Wilson wouldn't have played, in theory, Zach Wilson wouldn't have played as many games, though. Because, Carr missed, maybe a couple games?
Yeah, but he
played hurt.
He played hurt a lot.
But by the end, he was, as you noted, he played really well in the last 2-3 weeks of the season.
No, it's the Bermuda Triangle. We call him the Bermuda Triangle of quarterback evaluation because just when you count out Derek Carr, he comes out and throws 4 touchdowns. So you never know with Derek Carr.
Saints could win the division this year. Who knows?
There's no way to tell.
By the way, did you guys see Saints training mini camp that Willie Green, the head coach of the Pelicans, was there? And many New Orleans folks were like, "Oh, great, teaching mid how to figure out how to do something here." Because him and Dennis Allen breaking down stuff on the field. And they were like, I've never been more uninspired by a season than seeing these two head coaches trying to get the teams ready to go.
It's amazing.
Thank God Brian Kelly's around. Or else this would really be a sad coaching state of affairs in the state of Louisiana.
Yeah, I don't know what Dennis Allen is doing there. I just really, there's nobody who's into that guy as the head coach.
Did anyone think that was a good idea to hire him?
Nobody.
What were they thinking?
Asleep at the wheel down there. Asleep at the wheel. I think it's, how old is Gail Benson at this point? And I think she's just letting, the front office do their thing and they all want to stay employed. So just let's not get fired. It's silly. 855-212-4227. Could you have made an overture to Belichick?
Maybe the silver lining is for the Saints that in this multiverse, if the Jets do get Derek Carr, because I think he would have chose New York over New Orleans. Maybe they have this tanking year. And maybe they're in the sweepstakes for Caleb Williams or Jayden Daniels. And maybe that's their quarterback coming in this season. Now you have renewed hope in New Orleans.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That didn't happen.
Was Jameis in New Orleans last year? I can't even remember.
Yes, he was.
Jameis would have totally balled out, won 8 games there.
He defied the coaching, the play call. Remember, they were supposed to take a knee, and he threw a touchdown, right?
Yeah. And there was thought that maybe that would give him problems in the free agency. He got signed in 2 seconds.
No, because he's willing to be a backup. Right. Jameis, I don't think he'd be bad enough to tank for New Orleans to get it to Cal, but he's probably just as good as Derek Carr. I still don't understand why Jameis isn't starting somewhere. The dude threw for 5,000 yards.
Well, he'll be starting in Cleveland this year, trust me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Only a matter of time before Deshaun gets hurt, probably. So full circle here. The multiverse question was, what if Aaron Rodgers had come out of the darkness retreat and had patched things up with the Packers, had gone back to Green Bay? How would the NFL be different? If you have a thought on this, 855-212-4227. But meanwhile, my point remains, we still don't know where the guy was. He missed the mandatory training camp. Whether you think that's a big deal or not, we were kind of told, oh, you're going to see it on his Instagram soon. Oh, you're going to find out where he was. Not a big deal. It still might not be a big deal, Perloff, but we still have no clue. And may I just throw this out there? And I don't want to be like, I don't really know, but I've talked to a couple people who have done this before, which is ayahuasca. I know some people have done it. if he was on one of these ayahuasca retreats, and I'm not saying he was, but let's just say he was. Albert Breer had some reporting in Sports Illustrated. Hey, guys, open your mind to where he might be. Like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Okay. How many times are you supposed to do this? I don't think it's like one of those. It's very powerful. It's a really super powerful mind-altering drug. How many times are you supposed to be doing these tea ceremonies in your life? A lot of people do it once.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I know Jada Pinkett Smith has talked about it, but well, no, not maybe not the greatest example.
The ambassador.
But I think even her, I don't think she's thought about doing it multiple times.
I don't know. The people who I've talked to who have done it were one and dones.
Well, what about that whole like microdosing thing that Aaron Foster and PFT do? That's a thing now, like a constant maintenance drug thing.
But it's not of ayahuasca, though.
Right. But it's LSD. I mean, it's not so dissimilar, right? Like I don't know, it's twice a year, harmful.
I don't know. From the people I spoke to, they didn't. It wasn't like a all the time kind of thing. Not that this is all the time, but this would be 3 times that we know.
Because, I mean, the people who do it say that it's like this life-changing event. So, in theory, to go through that multiple times in your life.
Well, yeah, but I think you want to do it once a year, maybe? That does not sound radical to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I only talk to people who I know who've done it. I know 2 people who've done it. They both just did it once.
Do they approve? Like, what was there?
Yes,
they liked it.
No, they thought it was, they found what they were looking for, or got close to it, but they said it was powerful.
I mean, there's probably
and not pleasant.
Is it worse than like doing 75 Coke binges a year?
Well,
like,
I wouldn't advocate for that.
No, but I mean, a lot of successful athletes are out there partying. I mean,
right? But I don't think that's Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know. Why would it not be? I'm not saying he's doing Coke, but he's probably partied his entire NFL career. They all do, right? Is it worse than I don't know anything about iOS. Is it worse than a 4-day bender on a bachelor party? It could be.
Depends what kind of bachelor party you're at. I don't know. 855-212-4227. So there you go. A little multiverse. What would the world be like if Rodgers had just gone back to the Packers? Got a lot more to do, including someone is disrupting the ecosystem. We'll tell you who it is and what they did next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Maggie Perloff on the dial, but it's just another show that's missing the style. Got your takes, but they're colder than the winter foul. When I come through, I'ma light it up, watch you wow. Trying to run the game, but you're just in denial. I got the truth, keep it 100, no trial. Perloff, you just a stat on a pile. Maggie, step up, but you're missing by a mile. It's game over when I step into the booth. My words cut deep, yeah, they're the living proof. And to me, you just seem to miss the youth. Try to hit the mark, but you just uncouth. Talking big, but your points ain't sticking. My lines flow like a plot thickening. You're just shadows in the game flickering. I'm the headline, forever ticket ticking. Behind the scenes, you just do it, switching lanes. Velotti's got the keys, but can't start the flames. Got a line on the set, but it's just a single game. Need a new playbook, cause yours is just lame. And your Roach with the updates coming fast, but even he can't save you, you're in the past. Games changing, better private broadcast, cause I'm laying down tracks, and they're built to last. You aim high, but fall so flat. Trying to swing, but where's the bat? In this game, I'm the aristocrat, and you just fade, just another stat. So here's a toast to the lessons taught. Drinks in the house, and I'm taking my shot. Game set, match like you're not. Maggie Perloff, give it all you got. It's all love, just spitting the art. From the north, I shoot straight from the heart.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. We just laid out the Aaron Rodgers multiverse. I'm curious if he had stayed in Green Bay, would we talk about him as much as we do?
Yes.
Probably not. Definitely did not. He got definitely a bump from being on a new team, being in New York. The bump is back this offseason. I heard an interesting take from Dan Patrick the other day. He actually drew the line.
What did he say?
He said, I will not talk about Aaron Rodgers again until he steps on a football field. He's like, enough is enough.
I challenge.
No, the truth, and the funny thing is, I think he talked about him 5 minutes later.
It's impossible. The
I
guy's
get it.
Endless entertainment.
I get it. I mean, it's like, come on, play some football. Finally. He's got to get out there, Maggie. And he's got to do something at this point, or I'm going to ask for a refund from the NFL. Like, I want to see this guy play desperately.
I think we still have 70 days or something. I mean, guys, like we all love football, but it's not exactly around the corner. Like we still have a couple. Let's enjoy the summer too. Let's not rush this thing.
Yeah, right. We don't even know what country's in. But if we were going to ever do a segment about what we are most looking forward to see, we take Aaron Rodgers out of it because I think everybody is dying to see what does this guy actually look like on the football field, because there's been just so much this ayahuasca trip or whatever it is. I mean, there's been so much non-football. It is really time to see him play football so we actually can do that conversation.
Yeah,
I'm getting tired of guessing what it's going to look like.
Yeah. Also, spoiler alert, even with the football, there's going to be plenty of non-football.
You know, you're absolutely right. Because the McAfee appearances.
Absolutely.
But all the non-football stuff gets even better if he's actually good at football. Then he'll expand his political takes even further, probably get a little more confidence in those.
He's going to be so empowered
if
he plays well.
Oh, can you picture him? If he goes out and throws 3 touchdowns, can you imagine what he's going to say on Tuesday?
To be fair, he's already done a lot. So, he's kind of earned the confidence and the ego as far as football is concerned. It's just when it bleeds into everything else, it's the smartest guy in the room syndrome. And I think that's what's killing everyone's vibe.
Well, one thing, though, he'd be doing it at 40 plus, which is He has done a lot in his career, but to do that, it's even an extra level of impressive. And to do it with a Jets, a team that's been wandering in the desert for a while, that's another extra level of impressive. He would be empowered with a capital E. You're absolutely right.
So that's a little what's going on with Rodgers. Again, don't know where he is still, but we'll find out eventually when he lands back on Earth. We were a little surprised yesterday. This happened right at the end of the show, Pearl, when Monty Williams was shown the door in Detroit. This kind of took us all by surprise because Monty Williams just got paid. When he signed the deal, he was the highest paid coach. A couple guys passed him since then, but, I mean, he has $65 million left on his deal. And he was given this Godfather offer by the Pistons. He kept telling him no, no, no. They kept giving him more and more money until he couldn't say no. And the idea was you're going to be here for the long haul, right? Like the idea is that this is not a quick fix. This is not overnight. So they were predictably terrible last year. They won 14 games. And now you're firing him in the middle of June? None of this makes sense.
Yeah, I don't get the timing. It's the draft's 7 days away. It doesn't make any sense. You know, I do remember people saying, oh, Monty Williams is an example of a coaching hire gone completely wrong. Like, so the vibes were terrible there, and they lost, and they have no future. So I kind of understand. Like, he kind of failed already in 1 year.
I mean, but what did people think the Pistons were going to be?
Well, they have all these high picks.
35 games? I mean, they just changed general managers, too, so there's a lot of upheaval going on.
Well, you thought you'd see development of Cade Cunningham and all those young players, and did you see any of that?
I know, but in 1 year, like, what are you doing? You know, you barely know where the copy machine is. Like, I thought they would give him a little time because they signed him to this long deal. But anyway, the Pistons side of this is actually not, like, as interesting to me because they haven't earned our attention. What I think is interesting about the Monty Williams thing is the Laker job is still open. We know that they had pursued Monty Williams back in 2019. And is there some kind of last gasp? Like if let's say the Lakers brain trust is not fully sold on JJ Redick because he has not gotten an offer yet, and they put together an offer for Dan Hurley like over the weekend. Like it took them 3 days to get $70 million together to offer to Dan Hurley. That seemed like it came together pretty fast, no matter what Woj wants to sell us on. So could they just pivot really hard and try to go after Monty Williams? I mean, they've not made an offer to Redick yet. So
you're the Los Angeles Lakers, and you're taking the fired coach of a 14-win Piston team. That looks bad to me. I would not do that.
Well, but it wasn't his fault. Or the Pistons just terrible, and they're also like, you know, if they offered Monty Williams or they were down the road on Monty Williams in 2019, he took the Suns job. His resume's only gotten better since he took that Suns job because he took them to the finals and won Coach of the Year. They liked him when he was the New Orleans Pelicans head coach. Now, right, Pelicans, and now he's actually done more. So take out that Detroit year. Detroit's been terrible for a long time. Is that Monty Williams or is that the Pistons? You could argue it's the Pistons.
Yeah, I just think if it doesn't work, everyone's going to be like, God, it's gotten down that bad. The guy who gets fired in June, we're just going to got lucky and pick him up. I feel like you're the Lakers. You got to do better than that.
Well, but is JJ Redick better than that?
No, I mean, probably not.
This has been a tough coaching cycle. You know, Budenholzer, they probably didn't want, and he took the Suns job. I don't know. But they didn't offer him the job. So there weren't a lot of proven head coaches who were on the market.
I felt like Coach Bud kind of moved really fast with Phoenix too, though.
I wonder, like it was kind of a...
Yeah, I kind of wonder if they really even had a chance at him.
Here's the thing. In 2019, they went down the road with Monty Williams. Like, do they know what they were doing in 2019? Like, they also went down the road with Darvin Ham and hired him, and that was a disaster. So I don't even know if that is like a reason to take him.
Well, if you were interested 5 years ago, what's really changed? That was still LeBron, it's still Anthony Davis.
Right. Well, you've been proving that your instinct on coaches is not great because you're 2-3 coaches in. So whatever they were doing they're thinking in 2019, I hope they realized was somewhat flawed. So now they're trying to sort of try something completely different with JJ Redick.
No, their thinking back then wasn't flawed because
they
Monty
got
Williams
Vogel, Monty Williams was great in Phoenix,
and Monty Williams was awesome, and Vogel did win them the title.
Yeah, and lasted how long?
Well, not long, but I think that was more because I think they should have stayed with Vogel. You know, and I think honestly, if Vogel was like a candidate for this job right now, he would definitely be in the lead. Instead, you're going to take this wild swing of JJ Redick. Like, think about it.
You're saying if Frank Vogel
was interviewing for the job, and with his resume, it'd be like, yeah, maybe he should be the head coach. They just can't because the bridge has been burned.
Yeah, I mean,
in a vacuum, he'd definitely be the best candidate available. Like,
well, or is he really though? Because I think it's hard to tell. Like, did Vogel win because LeBron was there? I'm not sure.
He did win in Indiana though. It's not like that was his only stop where he's ever had any success. I mean, JJ has zero success. Literally, we don't know what he is.
Feels like a retread.
Well, definitely. 855-212-4227.
And also, Monty feels like a little bit of a retread, too, just because of the fact that he is coming off a bad year. So I almost give the Lakers a little credit for thinking differently. I mean, are they just going to keep cycle through? Are they going to bring Kenny Atkinson next year, James Borrego in 3 years? Is that what's happening?
I think Laker fans would tell you they just want to get off this merry-go-round. And I don't know if J.J. Redick's going to be the guy to do it. Maybe the voice of reason in the room is Linda Rambis.
Monty Williams, who just got fired after 1 year on an $80 million contract in Detroit, is a way to get off the carousel. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure that they're buying him on a high either.
Yeah, but I don't think that I'm not.
You think that's all about Detroit?
Yeah, I mean, look at what they just did. They just fired the guy in the middle of June.
I think there is a thought process though that if you hire, because remember what we heard, the initial thing about this was that JJ Redick may be this Pat Riley like guy who goes from the booth to the bench and becomes this like basketball savant kind of coach. I think there is a thought process that like, whether it's flawed or not, that J.J. Redick could really be their long-term coach, like even beyond LeBron James.
Then
like,
why haven't they offered him the job?
Right.
And why did they offer it to Hurley?
That's a great question, Maggie. I don't know.
If you feel like you're sitting on Pat Riley or Steve Kerr, then you don't even mess around with Hurley. You don't even allow yourself to be used for Hurley's leverage, which is what happened.
I think the only difference is that I guess with Hurley, he kind of brings the same thing, though, right? Like, this is a guy who can establish a culture. Like, he's younger, so, like, you're not getting a guy who's, like, you know, to Pearl's point, a retread who's been around the league. Like, there's a thought process that if you get Monty, he's a short-term solution.
No, I get it. But if you really think you're sitting on Pat Riley, you don't even go down the Hurley road. Meanwhile.
Yeah, by the way, I'm looking at, like, I don't think the retreads are winning at a high level, right? Like, Vogel's already been fired since he left the Lakers.
Again,
Jason Kidd did well.
I would ask you about
Jason Kidd did well.
Yeah, but I mean, the winners are Missoula, not a retread. Mike Malone, I don't think he had a coaching job before.
Sacramento.
Okay, well, that doesn't count. Yeah, I guess, Bud. But I do think, though, that first-time coaches, obviously, that's the trend now. Like, a lot of guys are winning in their first gig, Nick Nurse, et cetera. Missoula is a great example. So maybe they're thinking we got to find the next guy where, like, a Vogel type or a Kenny Atkinson type or a James Borrego type. That does nothing for me as a Lakers fan.
It might not, but again, like, none of the logic makes any sense.
Yeah.
You
See,
know?
Hurley would be way more exciting to me. Something new. I know that ship has passed, but I just think I kind of like the Lakers are like, you know what? We could get a retread, but let's try something different.
I'd love to know if people think J.J. Redick's going to be a good option if he gets the job.
I'll tell you right now, they do not think that. People don't like J.J. Redick.
He might win the press conference, though. I mean,
he comes off as smarter than you, and I think people will have a problem with him.
What did we start the segment talking about Aaron Rodgers, and now we're talking about J.J. Redick? Two guys
just
in the same.
Stephen A. even came out and said the other day he's an acquired taste, and he was a coworker for the last 3 years. So I think that people are with Pete Bellotti, that J.J. Redick's a lot to handle.
Dexter Henry is here with headlines. Hi, Dex.
Hey, how you guys doing? All right. We got new developments surrounding Bill Belichick's off-field activities since leaving the Patriots sidelines. Months after ring camera footage surfaced of a shirtless man, whom many believe to be Bill Belichick, leaving a house in the morning, the Daily Mail reported on Wednesday that the video seen on social media that was back in November of last year was indeed the 8-time Super Bowl winner exiting the Massachusetts residence of his 24-year-old girlfriend, former cheerleader Jordan Hudson. Now, the other day, guys, I asked you if we thought Belichick's time away from the sidelines would last longer than his new relationship. Now, I'm wondering a different question. I think we could all agree on this. There was a perception about the coach's personality or lack of personality. Are we learning more about Coach Belichick and his time away from coaching? And does Belichick maybe have a little bit more personality or game than we actually previously thought?
I don't want to know any of these things about Bill Belichick. I wish I knew less. I liked this better when he was just the hoodie and on to Cincinnati. I don't need any of this. Have we ever figured out the answer to the question, where did his shirt go?
Do you want to know that?
Did he wear it on the beach? They met. And it was just like he's hooking up and then leaving.
Yeah, I mean, was this a beach house?
Yeah, it was a beach house.
I mean, I assumed that, like, I don't know, like,
no shirt. You're Bill Belichick. You're not Fabio.
I know, but I think I kind of assumed, hey, maybe he's a short walk to the beach, like people walk around shirtless.
Like an island.
Yeah, like shirtless thing because of the beach house thing didn't like bother me as much.
No, but he's also a man in his 70s. You think you might have a shirt handy.
Yeah.
But yes, it is a beach lifestyle, so do your thing.
Yeah, I think
Jimmy
maybe
Buffett.
he's trying to win in Rome, right? Win in Rome through his Romans. I think Belichick is on that. I will say this. You talk about the Riz potentially. I mean, I did not think this was a relationship that was going on for now, at least 6 months?
Yeah, Gronkowski made a quip about it at the Brady roast that sort of fell flat about him scouting the high schools for his next girlfriend, and nobody knew what he was talking about. So clearly guys have known for a while.
I mean, there's a picture, I don't know if you're going to get to it, Dexter, the recent set of pictures of him on a boat with the young girlfriend. I mean, he could not be less fashionable. He looks exactly like the shirtless cool Bill Belichick. I think he's basically wearing a sleeveless hoodie and the shorts that should not be worn by anybody in this picture. And she is, I don't know. I don't know why
see the pictures. You got to explain it.
It's just pictures of them walking onto a boat. She's wearing this short white skirt and a black sweater. She's pretty, but I don't understand why this 24-year-old is dating a 72-year-old Bill Belichick. Not to be judgmental, but hey, what's going on here? Sorry, I'm being judgmental. Like, why are you dating Bill Belichick? You're 24.
I kind of want, what are they both getting out of this?
Yes, I wonder that.
That's what I'm curious about.
Do I gotta spell it out for you guys? What are they getting out of it? What do you think he's getting out of it?
Well,
you don't have to be genius to figure that out.
No, you're right
Shirt
about
was
that.
by the bed.
Entangled in the sheets. She's probably sleeping on it. He didn't want to yank it out from under her. Anyway, what is she getting out of it? So she's 24. So this is young. Right. So this is an adventure. Someone who's rich, famous, fun fling. Like, she's allowed to have a fling, too.
How is that a fun fling?
But that's part of the question that I'm asking. You have that assumption, Perloff, that it's not fun because of what we've seen from Belichick. Maybe Belichick's a lot more fun than we have been led on to believe.
She's not starting games. He's not breaking down her film, from her cheerleading competition, saying...
some film he's breaking down.
Good God, EJ, please.
A couple plays.
All right, you put your leg here. You should have put it here. Is that what you're talking about? The quarterback at Foxborough High School would have known better than that. Doesn't really land the same. Sorry. I think that it's he's like a rich and famous guy.
He's a sugar daddy.
And she's having a
fun. What's he going to do with his money at this point, right? This is what he's going to do. He's 72.
My only question is, what do they talk about? Like, that's the only thing that's the only thing I think of. Is all right, maybe we can kind of piece together why this is happening, but they went on a boat together, so there's hours that are being spent together. This isn't like a drive-by. So what are those conversations like? Because I'm 33, I just don't know how many conversations am I having with a 72-year-old?
Well, what do you talk to your parents about? Your parents aren't even that old.
They're in their 50s.
Yeah.
And 70, that's a whole different world. You know what I'm saying?
What was it like before cell phones?
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of a question.
What was it like on the New York subway in the 80s? Like those are the things that Belichick can actually answer, I guess. But does she care? She's 24.
Maybe they talk about the cover too. Maybe it's all football stuff.
Can I give you some facts about Jordan Hudson, the girlfriend, that are just out there and published? Nothing mean.
Sure.
She is a self-proclaimed glamorous Girl Scout, pageant queen and cheerleader. From pictures posted on Instagram, she enjoys the outdoors and has a particular fondness for birds, having previously owned one she called Mango. Yeah, I don't like this person.
You don't like her?
Glamorous Girl Scout dating Bill Belichick. Oh, God, make me. And she's like a philosophy major who wears these glasses that I can tell by a mile away are clear just for fashion. No.
They talk about birds and Thin Mints.
Yeah.
I don't think it's actually... She likes the outdoors.
She's clearly so phony that she can talk to anybody about anything. I don't know what Belichick talks about.
Maybe they're talking about nope, I got nothing.
But by the way, I don't understand what do two 24-year-olds talk about? I'm not sure I totally understand.
That's the thing. I don't even know
what do you talk about to people?
I mean,
we know what EJ talks about. The Marvel verse.
Marvel and Kendrick and
I don't know.
Belichick was watching the Kendrick Lamar. They talk about Taylor Swift. I bet he went to that concert.
That might be the connector. I think you figured it out.
That might be it, right?
Maybe that's why he was there for her.
Pretty much every couple I know, they run out of things to talk about after one date anyway. So I'm not sure what do they talk about.
This is why God invented Netflix.
Yeah, what do you think?
Although EJ's right, on a boat, you're kind of just there.
Also, like the time, like Belichick he's a head coach. Maybe it's different, but like 72-year-olds, they gotta go to bed at 9 o'clock. Like,
I don't think so, dude.
Oh, dude, Belichick, no way.
And maybe him. Maybe
I don't think. I think it's the opposite. I know a couple 70-year-olds. They're up all night. Teenage schedule.
Dinner, 3 p.m. dinner.
They're not 99.
The early bird special at Perkins.
Perkins. Wow, I've heard that place in a while.
Perkins is good.
Not since Tiger, right? That was a whole different situation.
Oh gosh, I didn't even go there. Talk about videos, huh?
That's a different one. All right, guys. In the W, Chelsea Gray returned to the court after missing the Aces' first 12 games of the season. The 5-time All-Star had last played on October 15th in Game 3 of the 2023 W Finals when she exited the fourth quarter with a left foot injury. Gray last night played 15 minutes, finished with 7 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks, just 1 point in the Aces' 94-83 victory over the Storm. Charlie Woods, the 15-year-old son of Tiger Woods, he earned his way into his first USGA championship on Wednesday when he had the leading score among qualifiers for the U.S. Junior Amateur next month at Oakland Hills. Obviously, his father is one of the greatest golfers of all time.
Yeah.
And earlier, you both were talking about Bronny James and the interest around him in this upcoming NBA draft. So I'm going to ask you this. Which son do you think will have the better pro career? Will it be Charlie Woods or Bronny James? What are we going with?
I think Charlie's already done more than Bronny could dream of doing. But Charlie, man, is he going to come save the sport? Because that would do it.
That'd be wild. That'd be unreal. But I agree with Perloff. Like, unless somebody is coming out of the woods and knocking, Charlie's ball into the hole to help his score, like the scale is so weighted and tilted for Bronny. I feel like Charlie at least has to go out and actually play the course like everyone else.
I hate to steal something from Perloff here, but I do have to go into my this is golf bag. I mean, like Bronny, Bronny has some physical things that LeBron gave him through genetics, but clearly not all. He's 6'2", not 6'8". Like Charlie, how much does he really even need from Tiger genetically to make him great? Nothing, right?
Yeah, it's golf.
Yeah, right. So if he's just
hand-eye coordination,
if he's just committed, maybe hand-eye coordination, but like if he's just committed to the sport, he could be great regardless of Tiger.
Well, you got to be mentally tough.
I think you could be good to a certain level. To be the next level, to be a champion, you probably need some rare qualities.
Definitely. I think you need real qualities. You need real mental toughness. You need to actually want to do this.
As
opposed to just doing it because your dad wants you to do it.
But I agree with you.
Not get burned out.
That's what I'm saying, though. Those aren't genetics, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, to me, like, Charlie doesn't have as many obstacles as Bronny James. Like, Brian James.
Yeah, he's not 6'8".
Yeah, he's going against a guy who's 6'8". There's not really much he can do. That genetics, if he didn't give him those God gifts, he doesn't have them.
Also, not many people start playing golf at 7, the highest end trainers. Like, you can't, basketball, there's a million people trying to make the NBA. I think that I agree with EJ. There's just so many more obstacles for Bronny.
At least it's more fair, though, for Charlie. Like, in terms of fair, like, he actually has to compete, whether you think it's the pool is shallow or whatever. He's got to actually compete against kids his age. Bronny is getting ushered to the front of the line.
That's true. I mean, you got to make the cut. Like, the numbers are the numbers.
They don't lie. Like, you either can hit the ball and you can putt or you can't. And, like, Charlie can. He's playing the same course as all the other kids. Meanwhile, the thumb's on the scale for Bronny in a crazy way.
Yeah, but Bronny will just make a team. Like, I think he has to actually do something to be good. Like, it's just getting drafted by the Lakers doesn't mean anything. Like, will he actually score 12 points a game or anything? Probably. That's a different question altogether.
Well, that's going to be how Bronny develops and whether he can actually do this. I don't know.
I take Charlie. I mean, I think it's way easier for Charlie.
I take Charlie as well.
Yeah, I gotta go Charlie here for all the reasons you guys mentioned. All good points. I agree.
Thank you, Dexter. Coming up, we have some crazy sound that you got to hear. I've never heard someone tell a story like this about their parents, ever. I feel like I've heard a lot of like athlete on the come up stories, and I've never heard something like this. We'll get to it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, and Joe Mazzulla Perloff, who I think was, if you just listen to the press conferences, kind of a quirky guy, kind of awkward.
Yeah, not a fun guy in any way. Not like fungi, like mushroom fungi. But he didn't seem like he had any fun or had anything interesting going on except sort of X's and O's. I thought that's all he did was talk about his faith and defense.
Right, well, you're not that far off, but there's a lot more to this guy than meets the eye. And at least on the outside of Boston, we're starting to realize a little bit more about him because he's doing a little bit of a media tour and he's letting people in a little bit more on his life. And he told a story on your friend, Big Cat, part of my take.
Yeah.
Told a story on their podcast about being a teenager. And he talks about being a teenager. And he was really just acting like a jerk, like how teenagers can act, just really kind of pompous and just being annoying. And his father had just had enough of it.
It's a little rainy. Baseball field on the side of the road. Head out there, and he closes the gate. It's kind of like where the guys do batting practice. And he just said the winner walks out of here alive.
I'm sorry, what? The winner walks out of here alive? Oh, my goodness. So, they go at it.
It was a little bit of rain. I saw some mud, and I really didn't have a plan. So, my goal was to, get mud, throw it in his face, and kick him in the and, at least, try to, get him a little bit. But mud wasn't great, catches my heel, and then it's just a pulverizing beatdown. Get back in the car, and he gave me, the Will Ferrell old school. If you tell anybody about this, I'll kill you.
Bananas story. And then Joe Mazzulla, as the head coach of the Celtics, he said then they go to his grandmother's house for dinner. He's all muddy. He's crying. He's embarrassed. He's licking his wounds, and he's very humbled. And in his retelling of this, he learned a lot from that lesson. Yes, that he should be more humble, that he should have a plan, and all these things. Unfortunately, his father passed away in 2020. He was already an assistant coach with the Celtics at that time, so his dad did see him reach this sort of incredible goal, even just to be an assistant coach, let alone what he's up to now. But what a story.
Yeah, so is this guy, is he cool now? Is he a great coach? I don't know what to think of him. I can't put him into any categories that I understand as coaches. Some coaches are geniuses. Some guys are personality guys. I don't know who he is.
I think he's definitely a great coach. I mean, he talked about the attention to detail.
What, did you think that last year, though?
No.
I mean, he got beat by a really inferior Miami team, which seemed like they were basically a bunch of G Leaguers and Jimmy Butler, and Spoelstra just Spoelstra'd it up. I didn't know he was a great coach till this year. Now he just ran circles around Jason Kidd, who looked like he was having a great coaching run.
I know. One thing I also learned about Mazzulla is that he collects people. He seems like one of these types that will really bring a lot of people under the canopy. Right, so not only a great all-star coaching staff, which is now being poached with the Sam Cassells and the Jeff Van Gundys and stuff like that.
But a lot of that was also Brad Stevens and Ime Udoka. Right. A lot of that I'm not sure that's all Missoula, but okay.
And other people. So I found out from the Zach Lowe podcast where Missoula was doing an interview. He said that, do you guys remember, EJ, you might be too young for this. There was a movie called Searching for Bobby Fischer. It's a movie about a child chess prodigy. This came out in the 90s.
Yes.
It's based on a true story, and the kid who the story was based on is now obviously an adult who is this chess prodigy, has gone on to be a jiu-jitsu and master all these other things.
Cool.
He's like a Joe Mazzulla friend, and Joe Mazzulla went to his place in Costa Rica after last year, after they lost to the Miami Heat, and the guy kind of broke him down and built him back up again. He's got former Marines where they do different challenges all throughout the season in Boston and other places on the road where they try to do team building stuff. He's got Pep Guardiola, the famous soccer coach, is somebody who is sitting courtside at the Celtics finals games and someone who's kind of in his corner. So he's just sort of collecting all these interesting people.
Yeah, it all looks good now that he's winning. I mean, this to the victor goes the spoils. Yeah, I still don't know. I don't really know who he is. I'm sorry. This is all I'm not putting it all together into one person yet. I like it. I think it's interesting. I'm definitely a fan now. And I kind of like his quiet, no nonsense approach. The guy didn't seem like he was celebrating until the very, very end.
Well, he actually told a story about that too. He said that he has shown his players, apparently there's a clip out there of a race, a long distance race, where a guy who's running starts celebrating with 100 meters to go or something in the race, and someone passes him. So one of his assistant coaches, when they were up 20 with 5 minutes left or something, started motioning to his wife, hey, like we did it, and Missoula unloaded on him.
Yeah.
So
I could see that for sure. What about the Dark Knight stuff? Now this is, I think, EJ's purview. Have you seen? You actually seen the Dark Knight, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
That just seems like a weird movie to inspire a player. So, Jason, you watched Dark Knight with Jason
Wait,
Tatum?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've actually never seen the one with Heath Ledger.
That's the one you didn't see?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I saw the first one.
First one's great, too.
Dark Knight Rises. I didn't see the Heath
that's
Ledger
the third
Joker
one.
one.
Wait, Dark Knight Rises?
No, the first one. I'm sorry. Whatever the first one that
Batman
Christian
Begins,
Bale's
right. I got you.
That one.
That's a good one, too. Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
That's not that good.
That's a great one. What are you talking about?
Maggie
It's not as good.
Gyllenhaal.
It's not as good as the Bane one or the
Bane one's the worst. Bane one's the worst one.
That's not
Bane one's awesome. It's got Bane.
They messed him up in the end. That kind of
Oh,
ruined it a little
dude.
bit. Batman Begins is phenomenal. Sorry.
That's not Liam Neeson. That's Lieutenant Frank Drebin. The new Lieutenant Frank Drebin.
Leslie Nielsen. How did that become about Batman, guys? We were talking about Joe Missoula.
It actually makes sense.
Coming up. Oh, boy. Who's blowing it? We'll tell you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
Peter Pilati loves Wendy's bacon treats. He dances with joy every time he eats. Crispy strips of happiness, that's no lie. Peter's and bacon, heaven reaching for the sky. Wendy's bacon makes Peter so glad. One bite, he's the happiest lad. Crispy, crunchy bacon delight. Peter's in bliss, morning, noon, and night. He orders a stack, can't get enough. Wendy's bacon is his favorite stuff. Each crunchy bite brings a smile so wide. Peter's pure joy he can't hide. Wendy's bacon makes Peter so glad. One bite, he's the happiest lad. Crispy, crunchy bacon delight. Peter's in bliss, morning, noon, and night. Oh. So if you see Peter with a grin so wide, you know Wendy's bacon is the reason why. Bacon bliss in every bite.
Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
What is going on with the Pittsburgh quarterback battle? Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie. Great, Andrew Perloff. So glad to have you. Pearl, I remember a time, this was back all the way in February. Feels like a different time. You and I were in Las Vegas along with EJ for the Super Bowl. We were talking to people, and the big question on everyone's mind was, could the Bears actually trade the number 1 pick and trade away the right to draft Caleb Williams and stay with Justin Fields? Do you remember when that was a thing?
Oh, sure. I mean, yeah, Fields got hot at the end of last year. It definitely was a thing.
Okay. Can we fast forward to now, where the reports coming out of Pittsburgh is that Justin Fields is going to have multiple obstacles to even get near the field because Russell Wilson is giving him essentially the stiff arm. According to reports, very few first-team reps in practice for Justin Fields. Russell Wilson is doing everything right. He's impressing the coaches. Yeah. And Fields, at least it looks like in the offseason program, is really getting relegated here to major, definitely backup status, where you would have thought, how we were talking about Fields at the end of the season, that he would have had a little more of an actual run at the starter job.
Well, yeah, except that it was a conditional 6th-round pick in the trade. So I think that reeked a backup immediately. Like, if you can't, I mean, he was the starter for a 7-win team in Chicago, then coming to a 9-win team in Pittsburgh and trading a 6th-round pick. That didn't really say this guy's going to start. I think people generally thought Fields is like a borderline starter already.
Okay, but again, I'll point you back to February, and I'll point you back to that time when it was a legitimate conversation about whether or not they would keep him over Caleb Williams, the shot of getting a guy who may be a generational type of first-round pick. So I know that the draft compensation maybe told you, the trade compensation told you where the market was, but that's not how we were talking about Justin Fields only a few months ago.
But with Chicago, he makes much more sense than with Pittsburgh, because Chicago, like, he's a great running quarterback. He's young. He's like 25 still. Like, on a young sort of team with no expectations, Justin Fields makes sense, and that would be Chicago. And if they had traded Caleb, they could have really set themselves up with draft picks galore forever.
Right.
Pittsburgh's like more in a win now mode. So I think that when you brought in Justin Fields, unless you're going to run him a lot, I think obviously a veteran makes more sense.
Okay, but here's the question. I know that the Steelers have this amazing run going of not having a record under 500, but they haven't won a playoff game in years. They'll make the playoffs and they'll lose. Are they really a Super Bowl contender? That's where they're really in win now mode. They can't grow with Justin Fields.
Well, I think they're in a win now, get to the playoffs mode. They're not in a let's start over.
Okay, but Justin Fields almost got a Bears team to the playoffs last year. So it's not like he's that. I mean, wouldn't he be better on a better team like the Steelers?
No, the Steelers? The Pittsburgh Steelers. Like that offense with Mike Tomlin as your head coach.
Okay, well, you can't have it both ways. You can't say they're Super Bowl contender, but then clown the offense.
Because they need a certain thing. Okay, they're going to win like 17-10 in a Mike Tomlin world with defense and running. So I think the model of having a conservative interception adverse quarterback like Russell Wilson makes a lot of sense. Now, I think the one way you could get Fields on the field is like, oh, we're going to do like early Lamar Jackson where he runs for 1,000 yards and we're just going to be ball control. But I generally think once you got Russ, like he so fits the mold of what the Steelers want. Conservative play out of their offense. We're going to win close games on defense. And Russ, of course, did that for years in Seattle. So, and he's older. I think this is about age. And then they're like, oh, well, this is a nice flyer. This is a flyer. He's not costing them a single penny.
Right.
A 6th-round pick.
And
this is a nice flyer.
There.
And also, too, he gives us Russ is an older quarterback, and this is a high-end backup. I think everyone views Fields about the same way. Between 22 and 32 in the quality of quarterbacks, right? He's very, very mobile, but he's obviously got a lot of work to do passing because you see that in the numbers.
Okay, but this was a first-round pick who is not a finished product,
right?
Who, in theory, isn't that what you do? You get him in your building and you try to develop him into more of a passer, right? If that's what you want from him. And if you are like really looking, do you really think Russell Wilson has one more Super Bowl run in him? Is that...
No, but
because
I mean,
I don't think that's the consensus on Wilson right now.
Wouldn't you have been crazy shocked if they brought in Russell Wilson to be a backup? That would be one of the more interesting offseason moves in 20 years.
Not really. I mean, they couldn't get him out of the building fast enough in Denver. It's not like he's coming off this high with the Broncos and all of a sudden we can't believe this fall from grace. I mean,
a backup to Justin Fields, though, that would be strange to me.
Well, I just am not. I'm
I
a
mean,
little surprised it's not
a
a real quarterback battle. Like I don't think Russell Wilson, what he's done in his career, no doubt he's earned the right. But what has he done now? Like what has he done lately? Has he really been that much better of a quarterback than Justin Fields? Sure, he isn't throwing as many interceptions, but that's also just because he's older and wiser. You have to believe that
he never has thrown interceptions.
That Fields is going to develop.
Well, yeah, but just stats wise, if you're last year. Justin Fields' numbers are really mediocre, and Russell Wilson's numbers are outstanding. Are we talking about the running or running a passing offense? There's like Russell Wilson's way ahead of him.
Okay, but you could also make the case if you want this sort of, you have an Arthur Smith now who is the offensive coordinator. You want to play conservative style. I mean, you can have a running quarterback can help you play the ground control game better than anything. You want to control the clock. You want to be running the ball with everyone available.
Right. Well, if you're going to do Justin Fields, that's what you're saying. But it doesn't feel like, you have George Pickens at wide receiver. You want to get him the ball. I'm not sure that they want to go to a full running quarterback mode, like a wishbone or whatever.
Well, it's not going to be the wishbone.
But Fields, as you look at the numbers, is way down there passing. So that's a project. You got to get your coaches on him. You got to figure out how to get him into rhythm.
Which is funny because that's not what anyone said when he was coming out of Ohio State. It's not like he forgot how to throw a football. And he was a great passing quarterback, a very good passing quarterback in college. So it doesn't really square. 855-212-4227.
Yeah,
I think he was running for his life a little bit when he was in Chicago. And now,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Have
you seen all the videos of him not throwing to open guys? That's like a huge thing.
Okay, but again, the growing pains, the learning, and I just think your ceiling is so much higher potentially with Justin Fields than it would be with Russell Wilson.
I don't think there's also, too, this is what's a rush to get Justin Fields out here? I know he's 25. You got to get him out of Chicago, coach him up, get him really comfortable there. Maybe week 6 put him in. Why would you even start him? Why throw him out there right now?
Well, why would you bench Russ? He's not going to be pleased with that.
I'm not sure. I think it's going to take Justin Fields a while to get this down because he's coming out of a really messy situation in Chicago. Pittsburgh is also coming off of a bit of a messy situation. I don't know. Based on kind of what we saw last year, it just makes sense for where this team is right now to start a veteran. I don't know if you go with Justin Fields and have Russell Wilson sitting there on the bench. That feels like visually just odd to me.
I just would have made it more of a competition. 855-212-4227.
But how do you know it's not a competition? Because, clearly they're watching him.
Well, Wilson's getting all the first team reps.
Right, but how do you know?
And also, they've said that Wilson is the starter. Like they basically anointed him when he walked in the building, which I thought was weird.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I did. I mean, again, I know what Russell Wilson has been in his life and his career, and I know he's going to go to the Hall of Fame and all that stuff. But we're not talking about that guy.
So how do you explain that they got him for nothing?
Who?
The Steelers.
Got Russell Wilson for nothing?
They got Justin Fields for nothing.
They got both for nothing.
Right, but how do you explain that nobody else wanted Justin Fields for anything more than a 6th-round pick and no money?
I don't know if this is really true, but I know that the general manager of the Bears said they wanted to do right by Justin Fields, and he said he wanted to go to the Steelers. So I don't know if there was, I'm not saying that there was a 1st round or 2nd round or a 3rd round pick out there, but could there have been a 4th round or something else out there and they actually did want to do right by him and send him to Pittsburgh? And maybe they did turn down a better offer, a slightly better offer, because Fields said, please send me to Pittsburgh. I don't know why he wanted to go to Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson was already there.
Well, I think a more reasonable thing is the market said, it's a conditional that could go up to 4th. But basically, he went lower. He got less than Trey Lance got.
No, I get it. But again, if you know, if the Steelers know, hey, you're going to send him here because he wants to, well, we're not going to negotiate against ourselves.
I think the NFL market's pretty efficient. I mean, I think they spoke on Justin Fields this offseason. Like, nobody jumped up and said, I want that guy. I mean, that's just they saw something.
Again, we're talking about the Steelers quarterback situation. I bring you back to February when it was a real discussion. Do you trade the number 1 pick or stick with Justin Fields? That was a real discussion.
Yeah, no,
that
I know.
Happened.
I know it definitely happened, but still, we're looking at the situation though. Yeah,
there was a thought that if the Bears win the final game against, what was it, the Packers, their last game of the year, that Fields would keep the job. That always sounded bananas to me, but that was out there too.
The Bears are like they're the Bears. They're a very young developing team. They haven't been in the playoffs in a while. I think the Steelers are totally different, right? Like, they want to win right now for sure. Like, I'm not saying win a Super Bowl, but they can't afford to take a huge project here. They tried with Kenny Pickett, it stunk. I think they want a little stability here. By the way,
Russell Wilson the guy to bring that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he was pretty darn solid last year. I mean,
then why did they want to get rid of him so badly?
Well, Sean Payton's a maniac for one.
Maybe that's just it.
But I mean, he was like, if they could get what he did last year, oh man, I think Pittsburgh would be thrilled because they do not need a ton out of their offense.
855-212-4227.
And we say all this, by the way. Justin Fields could easily get that job too. It's not out of the nothing is done at all. First team reps in April or June. Wait till week 6.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I do think he will still see some action this year. But it's funny because you say, like, well, the Steelers don't need a really big offense because they'll want to win with defense, right? And that works up until the point that TJ Watt gets hurt. And then all of a sudden something changes in your defense where you're not able to be as effective. Even with the Minka Fitzpatricks and the other good guys you have on the defense, you're not able to be as effective. And they really could have used a little more offense in the playoff game against Buffalo for sure. And at some point now you actually needed more offense. So it's like fine in theory, but you have TJ Watt, who's not the picture of health.
Yeah, well, that's the criticism. Mike Tomlin is stubborn and he's kept Matt Canada and it's keeping his defensive mindset.
Yeah.
Even when the rest of the NFL is starting to move on, that's the criticism. That's why I'm sure their Steeler fans are like, enough is enough.
855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in, Steeler fans. What's the best case scenario here? Do you think that Russell Wilson gets you where? Would you rather have Fields be the one who gets pushed to the front? At least maybe you grow, develop, you get a young guy for the future. You could weigh in. You can also watch the show. A lot of different ways. YouTube.com/InfinitySportsNet, Twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork. We say a good morning to our incredible Infinity Sports Network affiliates who we are obsessed with. The Odyssey app is a great way to listen to the show. Hit the rewind function on anything you missed. Show's all broken down into chapters. You can find what we're talking about that you specifically like and just click on that. Also, Sirius XM channel 158. Okay. You're welcome to weigh in on the Steelers. Also coming up, more football for you and some NBA drama. Is there any other kind? Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. All right, Mag, you've been teasing a story about an incident. I think you teased it yesterday. I never heard what happened.
No, I told you guys behind the scenes.
I think you actually promised that there would be an awkward moment on air to our audience at one point.
Okay.
I want to hear it. Give us something, Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm like that happened to you.
Man, so in my 40 years of going out to restaurants, I've been going out to restaurants since the day I was born. Nothing like this has ever happened to me before. Out to dinner with my husband and my kid last weekend. And it was a nice restaurant. We were celebrating something, special occasion stuff. So we're sitting at a four top, right, with the three of us. And then there's like a little bit of an alleyway, and then there's a table, a 2-top, another 2-top, and then a 4-top. You get me? 4-top, 2-top, 2-top, 4-top. Okay? Across. A couple sits down at the 2-top next to us, but it's not like next. Like we had an alleyway that you walk through. It was 5 feet, easy. They're sitting there, and it was a BYOB place. Do you guys ever go to these where you have to bring your own bottle, right?
Yes,
bring your own alcohol. And, it's kind of fun every once in a while. You do a BYOB. So we brought a bottle of wine just to have, a glass of wine. Again, we're celebrating something. And the people next to us, I was really surprised. They pulled out like a 6-pack and then like a bottle of wine also. And then they also had a 6-pack. So maybe I was kind of looking over there, but I was almost impressed. We didn't say anything to them. I just glanced over, kind of saw. I was like, kind of shake my head. And then we're back to the conversation. The people, the two, they are also looking over at my kid because you know how cute he is. And they're like, the woman, like a middle-aged to older couple. And they're, everyone loves, like, smiles at my kid. He's just adorable. All of a sudden, they get up and move one table over to the different 2-top, even though it's closer to the other 4-top that was full and busy and loud. So they got up and moved away from us to go towards a busier, more crowded 4-top and a louder 4-top.
After the interaction?
It wasn't even interaction. This is the only thing I can think of is I just sort of looked over. I was like, so they brought a 6-pack to a BYOB. That's not usual. But no. I didn't say anything. I didn't side-eye them, but there was no other interaction. They were smiling at my kid, and that's it.
I would assume they thought, we're about to get lit. Maybe we should give the young family a little bit of a break, and even if we're with the more rowdy people, we'll be fine.
It was probably like a couple in like their 60s.
Were you telling long stories like this one at the table?
Was I boring them to death? Okay.
I almost thought.
Message received.
Wait, they were in their 60s?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's a kid.
They want to move away from my kid?
Yeah, to be looser and
okay.
And I think people in that age also they're more sensitive, I think, to like how they act around kids than like my generation, for example, who they wouldn't give an F.
Okay. Can I add this wrinkle in for you? My kid at that point is like a little bit towards the end of the meal. At that point, he's got headphones on watching video.
I don't think that matters.
Okay.
I think, I'll be honest, I think that like you still feel like again, drinking a 6-pack.
What are you going to do? Snort a line at the table? I mean, what could they possibly do?
I don't know. I think it was more of an image thing. I think they thought, let me be honest.
Yeah.
I think they might have been judging you a little bit.
Were they judging me because I was judging them? But I wasn't even judging them. I was just looking over.
I think they're probably like, why are you bringing your kid to BYOB?
Maybe. He wasn't the only kid in there, but I get it. It was a fancier restaurant.
Yeah, I could see that. That might have been a big part of it, too.
Yeah, maybe I'm the...
Yeah, they smiled at the kid.
But my kid's being quiet. He's being well-behaved. He's got his headphones on with the iPad. No one else is listening to any of his whatever he's listening to.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for me because I don't drink, but I feel like for my friends who do drink, I could see somebody feeling like,
why'd you bring a kid to this restaurant?
Because I have friends who would definitely say that.
Well, yeah, because when I have a drink, I try not to do it. It's just a thing with me. I try to do it the least possible around the kids.
Okay.
That's just a thing.
Wow.
But some people might just say, hey, look, I don't want to do this near the kids.
No, my kid's like, is that your wine? Yes, it is. He already knows. He's 5.
Not that I don't, but like, I just, something in my head sometimes like, all right, I'll wait until they go to bed, or I'll wait until,
Because, I mean, you get a little looser, maybe dropping more F-bombs. I know he has the headphones on, but still, like, it might be just a little like, this vibe isn't. Maybe they wanted a more adult vibe, and they were like,
okay. Maybe it was me. I didn't know. They definitely moved away.
When we started talking about the table setup, because I had something that happened in Switzerland that never happened to me. Because we went to a restaurant, like a German-inspired restaurant, and it was a long table, but it was 5 of us. So it made sense to have the long table. So it's 2 couples and 1 young child again. So another young child situation around beer. The waiter sat another person next to us.
Oh, just a random?
A rando. And just served them like they weren't part of our serving, but like they ate dinner and they were just sitting right next to my fiance's friend, like as if she was a family style situation. She was part of our group.
It's interesting.
That I've never seen before. I wasn't crazy
it's like
about that.
Communal table type of thing.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about that. They also were very aggressive about you only have an hour here, so you need to get ordering now.
Oh yes, anyway, and in Switzerland they're all about time.
Oh my
Keeping
gosh,
on
I
time.
couldn't believe that. One of our people was maybe 5 minutes late. Was like, hey, can you give us a second because he's late? They were like, no, you need to order right now. So we had to guess what he wanted, and he actually walked in right as we were ordering, and then we got it all wrong too. That was the funniest thing.
Yeah.
We ordered some stuff. He's like, no, change that to that. Okay, he wants this beer. No, actually, I don't want that beer. I want that. I was like, well, thank goodness you came here because the Swiss wanted you in here immediately and out in an hour.
That's what they get. That's what they get. They want you rush out of the restaurant. You're gonna get 15 changes to the order.
Yeah, right. You asked for it. All right. Well, sorry. I guess my story didn't deliver for Perloff. I mean, taking a nap over there. Hey, McLovin, wake up.
Wait, I just so confused by the Swiss story. No, I agree with you. I think he nailed it. I think that people don't want to get hammered around your kid.
Man, he doesn't care.
Maggie, you have to accept the fact that you're no longer cool. You're not in the party anymore. You're a mom.
Oh, how dare you?
Right, that was a lot.
How dare you say something like that?
But did you guys feel that
summer.
way? You said that never happened to you. Well, get used to it. It was like...
I did. Well, again,
right.
I'm at a dinner with my fiance's best friend, couple, very young child, younger than your child, and it did feel like, we're
it's a buzzkill.
We're definitely not the coolest people in this restaurant. That's for sure. You got a yelling baby that were running to the bathroom. It was a situation.
Yeah, well, that's gonna get you looks.
Get used to the term. I'll get that wrapped, please.
I know. I've been there before. He's 5 years old. He's cool. He's cooler than me.
Pete, yeah, I know you do not take your kids to restaurants.
We do, but there's a time limit. We hit a time, and the witching hour starts.
Yeah, right. And that's why the iPad comes out.
Yeah,
right. With the headphones, it wasn't everyone else listened to Danny Go.
Here comes
Wouldn't do
Blippi.
that.
Here comes
Blippi.
Wait, can I ask a question? Were you a little upset about it?
It's just surprised.
Okay. You didn't feel judged or like...
I was very confused. Why would you move away from us? To go closer to someone louder.
I don't think it was anything malicious because they wouldn't have been interacting with your kid.
Right. And the woman smiling, waving at him, Anyway, that's what happened to me last weekend. Dexter, you've got headlines. Hello.
Hello, guys. We're going to start with the NFL here. Go ahead, Pete. What you
follow
got?
That.
Yeah, it's a lot to follow. I feel everybody's pain. I will say that. I feel everybody's pain.
Yeah, you've got kids.
I know that. Got a daughter, so I understand how that goes. Look at it.
You've had people move away from you? Nah, nobody moved away from Dexter.
So. Not that I can recall.
Nobody would move away from Dexter. Everyone wants to sit near Dexter.
But have we all moved away from other people before we had kids? And other people had kids, have you moved away from them?
Babies.
Fair question.
A baby, maybe a crying baby.
Yes.
So
but my kid wasn't being a jerk.
I will say this: I think what you did was not nearly as much an offense as when you have the parents that bring the child to a very adult movie.
Oh,
like a really young
adult movie.
Huge annoyance of mine.
Taking any kid to the movie that's not a kid's movie.
No, I mean, I remember me and my friends Valentine's Day weekend. I never forget it. Watched Deadpool.
Ooh.
2 minutes in.
Louise.
Very young child starts talking and saying
I would judge the crap out of that.
You know what was crazy? So the movie starts. First thing we hear is a young voice that says Marvel as the Marvel logo comes across.
Factual.
And I'm like, oh no, they think this is gonna be Guardians of the Galaxy or one of these very, very funny. It is a funny movie, but not for kids. And that is worse to me. Way worse than taking them around alcohol.
I've never had that happen. Has anyone else had
I have. Batman Begins, there was a baby in the theater crying nonstop, and they said, get the baby out of the theater. People did.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I had the same thing happen. I had the same thing happen where people said, get the child out.
Yeah, I've been there.
And they shamed that person, and they got the child out. And
I was in the
applaud
theater.
The people. The people were right.
I was in a theater once where a baby started crying, and all you hear is one voice that yells, shut it up. Crazy. New York City theaters have no chill. They do not care.
I respect those people.
Yeah, we've all been there. You can't take a baby to a movie.
Well, do people say something to crying babies on a plane? But
what are you going to do about that?
There's nowhere you're going to go.
I feel bad for those parents.
I feel so bad, but I've seen people give those parents a hard time.
Definitely.
That's what headphones are for.
Yeah. I mean, Maggie, you would understand if you had a baby and someone moved away from you on a plane.
That I would get. I'd clear out the moment I walk in if I've got a baby. But my 5-year-old is being very well behaved and minding his own business, and some people just moved away from us. Anyway.
All right, we're going to start with the NFL. So, guys, we know Joe Burrow's availability has been crucial to the Bengals' success over the last couple of years. When the Cincinnati quarterback has started more than 10 games in a season, the Bengals, they've made the playoffs. When he hasn't, the Bengals have missed the postseason. But since he might be okay if Burrow has to miss time this year because they have Jake Browning, the former undrafted free agent, ended up starting the final 7 games of the 2023 season in Burrow's place, and he was able to hold it down pretty much. He got the Bengals 4 wins in that time. Browning says that he sees himself as a better backup now. So, guys, Burrow is still working his way back from wrist surgery. Do you trust Browning to hold it down again if Burrow has to miss significant time this coming season?
Is it the very question flawed? Because you just said Joe Burrow is, every time Joe Burrow's been hurt, they haven't made the playoffs. And one of those years had Jake Browning, and they didn't make the playoffs.
This is
so
true.
why would it be different now? What's different from Jake Browning last year?
Different. He sees himself as a better backup. So I'm like, do you see him in the same way? Do you trust him a little bit more?
5 months ago, I was betting on Jake Browning. What would be different this year? It's too brutal division. I don't agree.
You don't see Browning taking.
They need Burrow.
Fair enough.
I agree. I do. I think Browning was better than we all thought he was going to be.
Oh yeah.
But no.
So it's a lowered expectations kind of situation. He exceeded those expectations, but you're not willing to go further than that.
I don't think so.
I got you. Okay.
There's a picture of Joe Burrow playing chess in France. Dude looks like he put on 15 pounds of muscle. This is you're right. I never know if Joe Burrow's gonna be healthy, but I feel like this is Burrow time.
What was he doing in France playing chess?
He so I actually have no idea. Everyone's in France right now.
I know that whole like fashion thing.
Right.
He was at. They were all at Louis Vuitton, and I know that there's a bunch of different conventions going on in France right now. But him and Justin Jefferson are on a Micah Parsons, CJ Stroud like tour. They're doing things together. They are the coolest duo.
Do you guys think Joe Burrow's good at chess?
Yeah, all the quarterbacks play chess. It's like part of their processing. It's a big quarterback coach thing. Like they have, I think he's probably amazing. Sees the field for quickly.
Maybe I'm judging him because I love Burrow, but I don't think a guy wearing no sleeves is good at chess.
No sleeves?
That's a judgment.
Wow.
The guy he's playing in is wearing almost looks like a suit. Like that, I'm taking that guy over the guy with no sleeves. I'm sorry.
I don't think with chess you can judge the book by the cover. You never know how people's minds are working. That's a different. Did you watch Queen's Gambit?
Yeah, which I loved.
Yeah, it was good.
It was great.
The guy in the suit could be a con artist. Who knows?
That is true.
This guy
he's
playing against, first of all, this guy he's playing against looks like he's Joe Burrow at 13 years old. Like Joe Burrow's so jacked, and this guy's he's a grown up. He looks like he's a grown man, but he looks so much bigger. It's almost like when Captain America went from scrawny Steve Rogers into like Captain America. They're looking at each other. He's got a full. First of all, I don't know what's going on. This guy's got a full leather coat, like almost like a full leather coat. He's got like a shirt underneath that, and a shirt underneath that, and Joe Burrow's in no sleeves and pink shorts.
Yeah, what's up with Joe Burrow? Like he's wearing pink shorts and a really no sleeve. It's not just like he's like half naked.
He looks like Hulk Hogan. Like he's like a Hulk Hogan tank top.
Wow.
How's he getting all yoked up if his wrist is messed up?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's a great question. I have no idea how that's happening.
Well, I don't.
Big mysteries.
I think that you could still lift as long as you don't grip it too hard. I have no idea.
I guess. Either way, Browning's ready.
Perloff, tell us more about weightlifting.
Yeah. Well,
and now we go to our bench press expert, Andrew Perloff.
Oh, I could throw up some weight. I bet you. I famously got to 250 on the DP show.
Look at you.
Nice.
So, one thing, there's this guy, Seth Bukowski. He's a chess expert. He teaches all the NFL quarterbacks how to play chess because it increases their brain activity.
Sharpness?
Yeah, it's like a exercise because chess and quarterback, same thing. You have to be able to make a decision, analyze a defense all at once. And Joe Burrow, I'll bet you he's a master. I'll bet you he's really good, which would be so funny. Would it be? I don't know.
Squares?
Yeah. I think
people
good.
that are good at chess are cool. That's a cool thing to me. I wish I was good at chess.
Have you ever heard of something called chess boxing? This is a weird
kinda.
It's an odd sport that was kind of made, I don't say famous, but whatever, by like Jizza from Wu-Tang. Yeah. So you play chess for a couple moves, and then you go into a boxing ring and you do a round of boxing. Then you come back down and you play more chess. Then you go back into the boxing ring. Chess boxing.
And the thought is you take a couple of hits to the head and your chest thinking goes down a little bit, right? So it's a challenge.
How do you navigate when your faculties are, diminished? Can you still be a sharp chess player?
Kind of like this, because it's kind of like in wrestling where you got a steel cage match. You could win by pinfall or leaving the cage. Yeah. So like here, it's like you could probably win by checkmate or by knockout.
I guess that's good. I'm just not trying to get knocked out.
Right. Yeah, I'm just not that person. I'm not beating them.
Or they capture your queen.
Is Wu-Tang into chess? I feel like there's some...
Definitely.
Right. Yeah. Like chess became unbelievably cool. I wish I was good at chess. Right?
Jizza, I think, is almost like a world-class chess player.
Yeah.
We could take you over to... there's a park around here where people are playing chess all day. We can go have them take your money.
Oh, but I think the thing with chess is like you peak at 9. Like young people are way better. I know because my kids whoop me all the time. There was this kid. He was 10 years old. He said, I guarantee I can beat you in 60 seconds. And,
this is one of your daughter's friends?
It was basically not really friends, but friends of the family.
Got it.
He was 10 years old. He said, I'll bet you I can beat you in 60 seconds. So every move, he has a timer. He pinned me in 45 seconds.
Wow.
He had
He was
5
right.
moves. He's definitely a chess master. Like, I'm telling you, our brains are just getting worse and worse. You think we are all way past our peak. Sorry.
Oh, damn. Let me down now. I had hopes to be good at
Honestly,
chess.
we're having fun around here.
You can't get into chess now. You're way too late.
Never too late, EJ. Don't let Perloff rain
Maggie,
on
you
your
ever play
parade.
chess?
I have. My brother's a really big chess player.
Yeah. Is he good?
Yeah, he's very good. I've played chess with a couple members of the Buffalo Bills.
They're into it too? Chess. Okay, so everyone, all these football players are into chess now?
Yeah.
Will we have a better chance beating Deion Dawkins in chess or kickball?
It wasn't Deion Dawkins. Definitely chess.
Definitely chess.
Or
that's
neither.
good for us next week.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, moving on. History will be made on Thursday night in a couple of ways. For one, a Major League Baseball game will be played at the nation's oldest professional ballpark. That's Rickwood Field for the first time. Also, the entire umpiring crew for baseball's tribute to the Negro Leagues at 114-year-old Rickwood Field will be black, a first in National League and American League history. Only 11 black people have been full-time umpires in NL and AL play, starting with Emmett Ashford in 1966. All 5 black umpires currently working in the league will be a part of the crew in Birmingham, Alabama, 4 on the field and 1 as a replay official. We're going to go back to the NFL, where Travis Kelce says he has no plans to get an error fixed on the Super Bowl ring he received from the Kansas City Chiefs last week because he thinks it makes the ring, quote, more exclusive. So there is this error on the inside of the ring, which commemorates Kansas City's Super Bowl victory last season. The score of each of the Chiefs' postseason victories is listed, including the seeding of each opponent. Now, the ring has the Miami Dolphins listed as a 7 seed when, in fact, they were a 6 seed in last season's playoffs. Guys, if this were your Super Bowl ring and this error existed on the ring, would it bother you enough to actually get it fixed?
I like Kelsey's thinking. This is all of a sudden worth a lot more. Yeah. I never thought they should have fixed the Kobe statue either. I like these little errors. Why get it fixed? You already got 2 rings anyway. What's the big deal?
Yeah, I'm forgetting. The Kobe statue had all the
it had a box score that was slightly
Joe
inaccurate.
Calderon, is that a Jose or something like that?
Right. It was a lot of misprints.
Well, right, but they were
all
like the whole gist of the statue was fine, and I think the gist of the ring is, I get it. I kind of
close enough.
I like Kelsey's. It definitely doubles the value, right? There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it wouldn't bother me. Who's looking for that anyway? When you show somebody the ring, are they going to look and say, "Oh man, hey, right there, they had the seating wrong"? I think nobody's going to say that.
Well, now they might.
Well,
now they might because everyone knows about it. I just think these rings have gotten so out of control. I don't know if anyone's been to Canton, to the Hall of Fame. You guys got a chance to go there yet?
I haven't gone yet.
One of the fun, there's a lot of cool things there, but they have the rings throughout the years, and it starts out, the first one is like the most basic, plain possible, and then by the end, it's like, the top opens and like a full replica of like Arrowhead Stadium comes out and basically sings you a fight song, and it's insane how much the rings have changed over the years. They're so gaudy now. Yeah. It's silly.
Yeah, but it's like a
collector's item.
Yeah, and it feels like a thing between the owners, really. It's not even a thing for the players anymore. It's like, oh, they did that ring last year, so we got to do it way bigger. Like, if I was a player, I wouldn't want, like, I wouldn't want the size of a golf ball on my finger. I'd want something that's a little more like whenever. I don't know if you guys ever see like some of these older players when they do flash their rings, like a Clyde Frazier or
kind of normal,
or like a Jerry Rice, or whatever, and it looks awesome,
like a class ring.
Yeah, it looks like a real like class ring. You said exactly, and you can't wear those anywhere.
Good,
the
that's
ones
a good
you have
point.
now.
You can wear those older ones. Like Clyde Frazier was showing me his rings like during the Knicks playoff run, and it was like, man, this is really nice. To your point, Maggie, when you're adding all these details more and more, doesn't it? You're increasing the chance for error that we're seeing here?
Honestly, I feel like having rings for football players is also a little ridiculous. Meet a football player and see what their hands look like.
Good point.
That's true.
Right.
But I'm sorry, were the ankle bracelets not available? I mean, that's pretty bad.
Right. They only bring them out for special occasions anyway, right?
Yeah.
Anybody who wears one of these around is a psycho. First of all, you're slightly putting yourself in danger, I would assume, walking around with a $50,000 worth of diamonds on your finger.
I feel like the older players, I feel like I see them wear it.
Yeah, they do. But you see them. Think about it. They're not wearing it to the grocery store. Where would you see them? At like a Super Bowl or something. Yeah.
Or at a game they're returning to or something like that.
Yeah, they keep them. I hope they keep them in a vault. And then, 20 years later, sell it at a pawn shop, get in the newspapers.
We can go back to that Vegas pawn shop and see if we can get this Kelsey ring.
Oh, you could definitely. Yeah.
Anything else, Dex?
No, that is it.
Great job this morning. Coming up, will the Lakers drama finally end? We'll tell you next. It's Maggie and Perloff. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Are we going to get hired today?
Well, now that Monty, welcome back, by the way, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, before we just dive into this. Now that Monty Williams, Pearl, has been shown the door, surprisingly, as the head coach of the Detroit Pistons, after just 1 year, he's got $65 million remaining on his contract. You could see him riding off into the sunset, maybe taking a little time for himself. But at the same time, the Lakers did pursue him not that long ago, back in 2019. Now he's available. We found out yesterday from Anthony Irwin, Lakers insider, that not everybody in the brain trust of the Lakers was totally sold on J.J. Redick. Now, maybe they are now, but Anthony told us yesterday Linda Rambis was the one who raised her hand and said, hey, are we sure we want to go with J.J., who has no coaching experience whatsoever? Well, Pearl, Monty Williams would certainly check the box of experience.
I'm trying to look this up real quick.
Yeah.
Does Monty Williams has all this money coming to him? Does he lose that money if he takes another job?
I bet some of it offsets, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, every deal is different. Like, I think Monty Williams has a lot of reasons not to coach. He didn't. I thought he kind of wanted to leave coaching for a little bit anyway. Then they threw all this money at him. So I wonder if he's a realistic candidate for that reason. Like, he's getting paid more than they offered Danny Hurley. He should just sit out and take all that money. And I don't like the optics. The Lakers hiring a coach who only won 14 games last year. You're the Lakers. It feels like way too much to take on. You already got so much heat for Danny Hurley and J.J. Redick, and now you're taking a cast off from the Detroit Pistons?
Well, you might blame that on Detroit. You could say he wasn't given enough time to implement his system or his program or whatever. That's just a bad situation. You could say, hey, this is a guy who took the Phoenix Suns to the finals. This is someone who's won Coach of the Year, someone we've already vetted. I mean, not the worst idea.
You know what I mean, though. This is certainly, none of this is ideal. Like, this just makes the Lakers look haphazard. The fact that also haphazard in the sense that he just became available, now we're going to throw him into this mix and we've been interviewing guys for weeks. It just doesn't look good.
Honestly, them hiring Monty Williams, though, would be the least of their not of their problems, but at least the least of their bad optics. Yesterday, Rich Paul, who is LeBron's agent and maybe one of the most famous now agents in all of sports because he's dating Adele and he's LeBron's guy, he came out and did an interview with ESPN where he said that it's not about leverage with Bronny James being drafted, right? He said, we're not dangling this over the Lakers' head saying, oh, you got to draft Bronny, and that's how LeBron resigns. He goes, if I wanted to, and this is the quote, I could force the Lakers to take Bronny at 17, and I'm not doing that. It's not about leverage.
But also,
whoa.
To be fair, though, he could force a lot of teams to take Bronny. If he called the Sixers and said, if you take Bronny, we'll give you LeBron, then the Sixers are taking Bronny.
Okay, but then in the same breath, they're saying this is not a package deal. They're saying we could take Bronny at the Lakers, and that doesn't even, totally mean that LeBron's going to re-sign. It's like, well, then why would anybody take Bronny if it doesn't mean LeBron's going to be on the way? Because on its face, Bronny is not good enough right now to be an NBA prospect. We all see what's going on here. He's getting the VIP treatment because he's LeBron's kid.
Right. I'm just saying that the Rich Paul could be saying, I'm not sure he is, that I'm not just holding the Lakers hostage with this Bronny situation. I could hold anybody in the NBA. Like, if I really want Bronny to go to Atlanta #1, I could do it.
Well, okay, but
I think he could too, by the way.
Maybe, and he's a powerful guy. But like, if I'm the Lakers,
No,
I'm seeing that. I'm like, what is going on?
It's not him.
Right, but he's
he's saying if this idea is out there that Bronny is tied to LeBron, then I could get a lot of teams to draft Bronny. Because if I dangle LeBron out,
then
it's not about Rich Paul the agent. It's about LeBron the player too.
That's true. He's also saying LeBron's not going to play for the minimum in Phoenix, so get that out of your mind. He literally said the minimum in Phoenix. Like,
yeah, but that was Phoenix because Phoenix worked out Bronny, so that's why they're in play, right?
Well, Phoenix only worked out Bronny because Rich Paul said they could. He won't allow Bronny to work out anywhere else, and he's saying that this is all by design. Listen, all those details, just to tell you, it appears, at least from the outside, that the Lakers' inability to have a actual structure in their front office, where it's not just these titles. Who has the power? Who is making the decisions? Because this vacuum of not having power, having it being split amongst all these people, is allowing Clutch Sports and Rich Paul and LeBron to basically come in and start making decisions for you.
But they're not letting Clutch make those decisions, right?
Well, if they do draft Bronny,
well, that's happening. Okay.
And if they do hire JJ, if JJ was LeBron's pick, then they actually are handing all this power right to Clutch.
Well, I would argue that this is not about Clutch. This is not about giving the power to Clutch. This is like, we need to appease LeBron. This isn't Clutch. We need LeBron on the roster, so we have to draft his son. This is a unique situation. If it was any other agent and any other player, is this really handing over power to Clutch, or this saying, LeBron, what can we do to get you back in the building?
I think it's one and the same. Yes, I think it's about LeBron. You're right about
that.
But
when LeBron disappears in 2 years, they're no longer going to take Rich Paul's calls. They're not going to care at all. Like some of his other players. I mean, he has Anthony Davis. He'll probably be dying to get rid of that contract.
Oh, God. I don't know. I mean, Rich Paul keeps getting more and more clients, so I don't know if you can really alienate any kind of any agent.
He lost Trae Young. They lost a couple of guys. We don't know if that's a just a
cost
thing
of doing business,
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But for a guy who did have a lot of huge clients, they did lose a couple in recent years or recent weeks, actually.
Well, I mean, does he have Wemby? Does he have Giannis? Like, that's who the Lakers are going to be thinking about in 3 years, not these guys. So I think this is specific to LeBron. And hey, okay, even if they did have somebody in charge in the Lakers, I agree with you, it's crazy. Who's not going to say yes to Bronny James? Like, what executive? Would you be strong enough to say no to Bronny James?
If I had LeBron on the roster?
If you were the Lakers,
yes.
If LeBron has an opt-out and Bronny's sitting there in the draft and it's a weak draft, I think the common sense, most direct decision is to draft Bronny James.
No doubt. And I would have long made this peace with myself.
Yes.
And I wouldn't keep up this stupid charade of saying, listen, I could get Bronny drafted anywhere, right? Or I wouldn't keep up this charade of like, well, we're not really sure. Or, I would understand where I'm at. And I would understand that, hey, if I'm going to draft Bronny, I also want something in return here. So I'm not just going to draft Bronny. I also need assurances from LeBron. What am I getting? Am I getting 2 years? Am I getting 3? Can I get you to take a little less money? Like, what else can I do because I know this is important to him?
I think realistically they get, that guarantee is there. If they draft Bronny, LeBron is staying in LA. I think it's just connecting the dots.
Can you imagine if they draft Bronny and he's like, all right, I'm out to Philadelphia?
Well, that'd be
That's
amazing.
why Rich Paul's thing didn't make any sense, because he said, I'm just trying to do the best thing for my client. But how?
Which client?
Well, right. But also, how could the best thing for Bronny James be sending him to the Lakers and then having his dad leave? That's not the worst thing that could happen to him.
They're like, well, it's all about fit. I'm like, the guy was scoring 4 points in college. What's the fit? Fit for what?
That's why these
for the end of the bench.
That's also why these teams are total buffoons if they draft Bronny James in the first round. They get lost. So teams have got to step up and show that they run the organization, not players.
Listen, I think they've already, again, I'd make my peace with this. It's like, all right, well, LeBron, we've got you for 2 years. What do we have to do to get the best out of you in 2 years? And then after that, we're going to break.
And that whole Bronny not being a two-way player is not nothing. Because, the Lakers have, how many years have we seen them get decimated by injuries? If he's not a guy who can be moved up and down from the G League, that means that if they lose 3 or 4 guys, which is very possible in an NBA season, he is playing. He is playing. The 4-point per game backup shooting guard of USC is playing games in the NBA. And that's a real thing. If they can't move him up and down from the G League, there's a roster thing of like, all right, this is a second-round pick that may need to play in real games.
Again, that's why if I'm the Lakers, I'm like, all right, you want me to do this for you? What are you doing for us? And how are you going to make us whole if we're going to actually give Bronny a guaranteed contract?
Well, he's staying in L.A. What else can he do? What else is LeBron going to do? Give them, I don't know, give him Bryce? What are you expecting? What do you hold the hostage?
I don't know. I want KCP. I don't know who I want. Who else you got in your roster? Let me
from
around.
Rich Paul.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They lost Anthony Edwards. They lost Trae Young. I mean, they were kind of hemorrhaging big stars. Yeah. I don't know what Rich Paul does for the Lakers at this point.
I want Adele singing at my birthday party.
There you go.
And I want front row seats to every one of her shows. Thank you to EJ Stewart. Thank you to Pete Pilati. Thank you to Dexter Henry. Andrew Kaplan is back. Weedos and coffee drinkers in full effect. We'll see you tomorrow.
You're in a 5-minute break.